Chapter 4168. Perhaps because the kiss was too intense, Han Yueao seemed to have sobered up a little. She got up from the ground and fell onto the sofa, her cheeks flushed. Su Yu went to the bathroom for a full 10 minutes to avoid embarrassment and ran back to his room and closed the door. When Su Yu came out of the bathroom again, he glanced at Han Yueao on the sofa. He said awkwardly, I'm going upstairs to sleep. I'm a little dizzy. Ask In to prepare a guest room for you. If you want to go back, and can drive you. Then, he ran upstairs as fast as he could, as if he was running for his life. But Han Yueao yelled at him. Su Yu, stop right there. Su Yu immediately stopped, but he didn't dare to look back. In the room, and was eager to gossip. He leaned against the door and listened. Han Yueao stood up unsteadily. She walked up to Su Yu step by step. Su Yu, you're a man. Why are you running away? I was the one who kissed you. You didn't do anything to me. Su Yu, to be honest, did you feel anything when I kissed you? Su Yu. Han Yueao must be drunk to ask such explicit questions. It would be strange if Su Yu could answer. Then he wouldn't be Su Yu, and who was eavesdropping in the room, almost vomited blood. It's getting late. Han Yueao, hurry up. Su Yu, can't you not run away? How old are you? You're almost 30 years old. Most of your life has passed. You're not afraid of anything. Are you afraid of a little girl like me? Han Yueao didn't want to see Su Yu's perfunctory attitude. You know you're a little girl. So, Blondie, go to sleep. Stop fooling around. I'm not fooling around, Su Yu. You know how I feel about you. Han Yueao blurted out the words in excitement. Su Yu seemed to have a premonition in his heart. He didn't feel surprised or strange, but the atmosphere once again fell into an incomparably awkward state. Su Yu, I like him. You can tell and can tell, and the whole world can tell, right? But I know that you have no obligation to accept me. Love is a pure thing. It doesn't change just because you're my boss and I'm your subordinate, or because you're a rich man and I'm just an ordinary person. To be honest, I never dreamed that I would fall in love with someone like you one day. A person like me? What's wrong with me? Su Yu smiled faintly and joked. That's right. I thought I would meet an ordinary person I like, get married, have children, and live a peaceful life. I didn't think I would be so ignorant as to fall in love with an important person, but since I've fallen in love, I will follow my heart. Different from Zheng Ro threw herself at Su Yu regardless of his feelings. After forcefully kissing Su Yu, Han Yueao didn't go up to hug him or offer herself up to him. Instead, she respected Su Yu's thoughts. She respected her own personality more. Hearing her words, Su Yu heaved a long sigh of relief. He knew since they had made it clear, he couldn't avoid it. He could only face it head-on. Exhaling deeply, Su Yu turned his head and looked into Han Yueao's eyes. At this moment, Han Yueao was very nervous. She didn't know what Su Yu would say. Would he reject or accept? Anyway, everything was unknown. Like a child waiting for her teacher to announce her grades, she was anxious, worried, and a little hopeful. Chapter 4169. Han Yueao, the old Su Yu might have been outstanding in your eyes, but he's not anymore. The old Su Yu is dead. I don't know why you like me. If you want money, I have it. If you want fame, I can give it to you. If you want fame and fortune, I can give it to you. I'm okay with sleeping with you. If you ask me for love, then I'm sorry, I don't have it. You know, the whole world knows I, Su Yu, gave all my love to Huimin. Su Yu said this very seriously. He knew that Han Yueao would be sad to death after he said it. However, he still had to make some things clear. He couldn't use the excuse of being in a relationship to mislead her and waste her youth. With the cases of Jian Tong and Nie Lingxian, Su Yu didn't dare to flirt with any woman. He was afraid that he would hurt her feelings. Su Yu would rather Han Yueao for fame and fortune, money, and other motives. At least he would feel better if he did. However, he knew that a girl as sincere as Han Yueao wouldn't do it for those extravagant things. Since she dared to confess, she must be moved. However, Su Yu didn't have love. He really couldn't give Han Yueao any love. There was nothing he could do. and was at the door and gritted his teeth angrily. President Sue is so silly. Doesn't that mean he missed out on another good girl? Miss Han is really a good person. It seems like the old bachelor is going to stay single. Just when everyone thought that Han Yueyao would be in so much pain that she would cry, she didn't. She didn't. This girl was always so unpredictable. She retracted the red rims of her eyes and the tears that were about to fall, then she smiled. It was a very sweet smile. She looked at Suyu and said, "So, the world is fair. When you give your heart and soul to someone but don't get a response, God will definitely send someone as silly as you to treat you wholeheartedly. Suyu, I understand that you're willing to protect Sister Mion for the rest of your life, and I'm willing to protect you for the rest of my life. You're such a good person. You deserve my protection. Han Yueyao, don't do this. You'll regret it." Suyu was upset. He didn't expect this girl to be so stubborn. "Then let me ask you, have you ever regretted loving Sister Mion for so many years?" "I haven't," Suyu answered frankly. "So, Suyu, no matter what you were before, what you are now, and what you'll become in the future, you'll always be in my heart. No matter whether you're good or bad, no matter what great or wrong you've done, you'll always be Suyu, the outstanding man I love. I don't need you to agree to date me. I just need you to be friends with me, just like you are with Sister Mion. Let me be by your side, watch you be happy, and protect you. That's all. Han Yueyao, you can't do this. You'll get married in the future. Don't do stupid things to delay yourself. Will you give up on Sister Mion and marry someone else in the future?" Han Yueyao asked Suyu another difficult question. Chapter 40, 170. Hearing Han Yueyao's question, Suyu fell silent again. Yes. Could he let go of Mion and marry another woman? To be honest, he hadn't thought about this question himself. He just wanted to live one day at a time, but in the blink of an eye, for years had passed. In the past 4 years, Suyu had been jokingly called a forever single dog by his friends. He seemed to have gotten used to it. So, when Han Yueyao asked him if he would get married in the future, he really didn't know how to answer. Say yes? He wasn't sure. Say no? He wasn't sure either. There were too many uncertainties. If you think it's hard to answer, you don't have to. Anyway, this question isn't important to me. But don't say that you're holding me back or that I'll get married in the future, because my answer is the same as yours. Although I don't dare to say that I won't get married for the rest of my life for you, at least not now. I'll follow my heart. If one day I let go of you, then I'll openly fall in love, get married, and have children. Maybe then I'll ask you for a big red packet. Han Yueyao smiled brightly. Hearing the girl's heartfelt words, Suyu didn't know what to feel. He could only say that he was touched and heartbroken. He felt heartbroken because there seemed to be another idiot in the world who was as infatuated as him. He was touched that there were girls who were willing to give their hearts to someone like him without asking for anything in return. She didn't force him to marry her, date him, or reciprocate. She was only willing to like him silently. This kind of thing was easy to say, but difficult to do. During this period, Suyu had a certain understanding of Han Yueyao and knew that she wasn't the kind of person who only knew how to sweet talk. Therefore, what she said was more authoritative. "Okay, I've said what I wanted to say. President Sue, rest early. Tomorrow is a new day. Let's work hard and live every day." Then, Han Yueyao turned and walked downstairs to the living room. "And are you asleep?" No. Hearing Han Yueyao call him, and immediately ran out. "Can I trouble you to take me home?" "Huh? I'm not used to being in an unfamiliar environment. I like the small bed in my staff dormitory." "Sure. Can we leave now?" "All right, let's go." Han Yueyao walked ahead of him. When she reached the door, she looked back and smiled sweetly at him. "Good night, President Sue. Sweet dreams." This last is really, Suyu felt a headache coming on. Seeing her leave, he felt relieved. If this girl stayed tonight, he would feel uncomfortable. After all, she was different from those young models who spent the night at his house. He could just leave those young models in the living room and let the media write whatever they wanted. But Han Yueyao was different. Fortunately, the girl had left. Perhaps she didn't want to make things too awkward. After Han Yueyao left, Suyu lay on the bed. He didn't have the energy to think about other things. After all, he had drunk too much. Therefore, he slept all the way until dawn. The next morning, Suyu had thought that rumors about him and Han Yueyao would spread everywhere. After all, the paparazzi would make an issue of Han Yueyao's visit to his mansion. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The reason was that late last night, Han Yueyao returned to her dormitory and posted this on her personal Weibo, who said that President Su is desperate and brings women home to spend the night. Last night, I took the initiative to go to his house and was kicked out. Okay? Please don't slander a president in the future. After all, he's a good boss who pays his salary on time. Suyu was so angry that he laughed when he saw this Weibo post. How could she be so naughty? Chapter 40, 171. After Han Yueyao made fun of herself, the netizens didn't criticize her. Instead, she gained hundreds of thousands of fans and even became a trending topic. The trending topic was, Han Yueyao delivered herself to his door. When they clicked on this Weibo post, they knew it was a joke. This way, the media wouldn't dare to expose the photos of Han Yueyao going to Suyu's house last night. After all, Han Yueyao did come out soon. This way, Han Yueyao made fun of herself and also protected Suyu from being described as a playboy by the unscrupulous media. In the dressing room of the performing arts department, Han Yueyao logged into Weibo with her phone and was in a good mood when she saw the comments. Wow, Big Yao, you're really good at making fun of yourself. I'm in love with you. Haha, the girl is so funny. I'm your fan now. I knew you were a good seedling. Goddess, are there any variety shows coming up? I'll definitely watch them. I heard that you had an affair with Suyu and thought you might be the second Nie Lingxian. Now it seems that you're not. Haha, you're so cute. You even delivered yourself to his door and got kicked out. But President Su has bad eyesight recently? Those young models aren't as pretty as you. Why did he kick you out? In a good mood, Han Yueyao replied to this netizen. I think it's because my chest is flat. Haha, you're so cute. Her reply instantly caused a heated discussion among the netizens. An hour later, the trending topic changed to Han Yueyao's flat chest. She had a lot of fun with the netizens on Weibo. However, Han Yueyao also posted a post on her WeChat friend circle. This post was different from the one that made fun of herself. She wrote, what this world doesn't lack the most is beautiful women everywhere, rich people everywhere, promiscuous playboys everywhere, tricks everywhere, and so-called love that has overflowed to the extreme everywhere. The only thing missing was the sense of responsibility, sense of security, loyalty, as well as the unrepentant determination that shouldn't be missing in love. Han Yueyao didn't have many friends on her WeChat friend circle, therefore, these words came from the bottom of his heart. When Suyu saw it, he wanted to like it but was afraid that the little girl would think too much, so he pretended not to see it. Su Xiaoxiao gave a like and commented, oh, someone's heart is about to move. I wish you success. Ha ha ha. The revolution hasn't succeeded yet. Warriors still need to work hard, Han Yueyao replied to Su Xiaoxiao. Suyu also saw it clearly. When Homin woke up in the morning and saw this message, the corner of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. Haha, a filthy woman from the entertainment industry wants to get her hands on Suyu in your dreams. Layla was not Homin. Of course, she would not have any feelings for this little girl. So, he deliberately left a comment below and asked, Yao Yao, are you talking about Yuan Bo? You two are really a perfect match. Sister Mian, it's not him. Haha, that guy really isn't my type. Seeing Huamin's comments, Han Yueyao was happy. She didn't see any malicious intent, but she wondered if Sister Xiaomin was in a good mood and was willing to talk. Huamin did not reply to her. Yuan Bo, on the other hand, picked up his cell phone and saw Weibo. He clicked on it and commented and reposted it, saying, Beauty, if you're in a relationship, you'll cut your wrists if you break up. When this post was posted, his fans burst into laughter. Are you two showing off your love? This fan comment was pinned to the top and was liked tens of thousands of times. In the dressing room, the agent whispered in Han Yueyao's ear, Yao, shall we use this opportunity to hype up your relationship with Yuan Bo? It'll make your popularity skyrocket. It's a rare opportunity. More importantly, He's interested in you, and your fans are willing to accept it. Chapter 40, 172. Hearing her agent's suggestion, her face fell. Sis, you know me. I don't want to take advantage of other people's popularity. But I think Yuanbo is really interested in you. He's not trying to make things up for nothing. What are you afraid of? It's because he's sincere that I can't take advantage of him. It's shameless to trample on other people's sincerity. I'd rather not be famous than be shameless. She rarely lost her temper with her agent or assistant. She didn't mind working a little harder. But when it came to principles, Han Yueyao didn't show any mercy. Her agent was embarrassed. It's okay. Don't do it. I'm just giving you a suggestion. Her agent tried to smooth things over with a smile. Suyu finished his work in the morning and was going to have a quick lunch in the employee cafeteria. But he received a WeChat message from Qin Chu. Do you want to have lunch together? Suyu wondered if it was really Qin Chu's tone. Why did it sound like he was going on a date with him? You're Qin Chu, right? Did someone hack your WeChat message? Suyu typed a reply. Qin Chu, do you want to say something to me? Suyu wasn't sure and was afraid it was a prank. But judging from his profile picture and WeChat moments, he knew it was Qin Chu. But why did he sound like, it's me? 3 seconds later, Qin Chu sent a voice message. It was only 1 second with 2 words, and it was extremely clean and concise. Now Suyu was no longer suspicious. He immediately asked, okay, where do you want to eat? Anywhere. Suyu, do you want to eat Hunan cuisine? Suyu asked tentatively. Okay. Qin Chu quickly agreed to Suyu's suggestion. After all, meeting was the most important thing. Eating was second. After all, the 2 men weren't close and wouldn't eat just for the sake of eating. Suyu sat down in the staff cafeteria. After making a reservation on WeChat, he stood up and walked out again. They bumped into Han Yueyao, who came to eat. President Su, are you here for dinner? Han Yueyao wasn't embarrassed at all and spoke in a formal tone. Ah, right. Seeing that Suyu was about to leave, Han Yueyao hurriedly made way for him. From the outside, the relationship between the 2 of them was very normal and not strange at all. On the other hand, and felt awkward looking at the 2 of them. When they walked out and asked, President Su, Miss Han is a tough woman with a strong heart. Agreed. Suyu nodded while playing with his car keys. I think with your personality, you need a woman with a strong heart as your wife. What? Did Han Yueyao bribe you? Suyu chuckled. No. Miss Han is so stingy. She doesn't even want to spend money on herself. How could she bribe me? I'm just being honest. Hurry up and go upstairs. Go wherever it's cool. I'm going to eat. I'll drive myself. What about me? President Su? I'll give you 3 hours off. You can wander around a university and see if you can pick up a girl. With that, Suyu pressed the key and got into a flashy sapphire blue Porsche sports car. Pick up a girl? That's a waste of money. Forget it. I'd rather miss my goddess, Lu Yan, and shook his head. The famous Hunan cuisine restaurant in the city. When Suyu arrived, he saw Qin Chu's car. President Su, President Qin is here. He's waiting for you in room 8 upstairs, the restaurant manager said respectfully. Suyu nodded slightly and went upstairs. Chapter 40, 173. The private room upstairs in the Hunan restaurant was very exquisite. Qin Chu arrived a few minutes early and was in room 8. When Suyu went upstairs, he was actually feeling nervous. After all, he had taken the initiative to talk to Qin Chu before, but he was rejected. Now, he was looking for him again? Was he in the mood to criticize him? Was he scolding him for the lost child? Or was it because he had paid for Huamin and bought so many things? Suyu's heart was in a mess. To be honest, after returning from Yunnan this time, he felt that the atmosphere was strange. He couldn't tell exactly what was strange. He only knew that there was always an indescribable feeling. It was very strange. When Suyu entered the door, he saw Qin Chu making tea with his head lowered. You're here. I should sit down. Okay. You order. Please note that Qin Chu's words were not a question, but a statement. Suyu took off his coat and sat across from Qin Chu. Then he picked up the menu. Is there anything you want to eat? Suyu asked Chin-chu. I'm fine with anything. Fuck. I give up. You're a total Buddhist. I'm fine with anything. Suyu was sweating. You order. Chin-chu slowly poured Suyu a cup of tea and pushed it in front of Suyu. Waiter, order. Suyu didn't stand on ceremony. Seeing that Chin-chu said he was fine with anything, he decided to order a few things that he liked. Everyone who came to the Hunan restaurant knew that spicy food was the best. Just like Sichuan cuisine, chili was the most famous. The waiter came in respectfully with an ordering device in his hand. President Su, please tell me. I'll take note of it for you. Steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers, home-style tofu, Hunan-style stir-fry, sautéed bacon with dried tofu, spicy lotus root slices, Hunan tujia fish. Su, you ordered 6 dishes in one go. President Su, we're almost done. We have a lot of dishes here. It's enough for you and President Chin. We've already ordered 6 dishes. The waiter kindly reminded him. Suyu nodded and closed the menu. Make us another soup. Westlake beef soup. Okay, President Su, what do you want for the main course? Let's wait for the main course. Chin-chu, do you want a drink? How can you drive after drinking? Chin-chu glanced at him. You can call a designated driver or a chauffeur to pick you up, Suyu said with a swagger. Then you don't have to attend the meeting in the afternoon. Do you want to go back to the office to sleep? Okay, you win. Waiter, bring 2 bottles of mineral water and rice for the main course. Okay, President Su. Seeing that Chin-chu wasn't interested in drinking, Su simply didn't order any alcohol and ordered 2 bottles of mineral water. After the waiter left, the room was dead silent. Chin-chu was famous for his awkward silence. His words were less than a quarter of Suyu's. Therefore, Suyu regretted not bringing in. After all, he didn't like awkward conversations. Just as he was thinking about what to say, Chin-chu spoke first. How's the company recently? Oh, not bad. Don't tell me you're here to borrow money from me? Suyu asked deliberately. Do you think you have more money than me? Where did you get your confidence from? Chin-chu glanced at Suyu speechlessly. I don't think I have less money than you. Do you want to compare bank balances? Boring. Suyu. Chin-chu, don't tell me you're here to have dinner with me today. Of course not. So what's our theme today? Suyu felt that he couldn't hold it in any longer. How many times have you seen Mion since you came back from Yunnan? Are you misunderstanding something? There's nothing between me and Huimin. You don't have to explain. That's not what I want to ask. Just answer my question. About 2 or 3 times. Suyu tried hard to remember. Do you think she's the same as before? What do you mean? Suyu looked at Chin-chu in confusion. Chapter 40, 174. That's in terms of emotions and state. Compared to before. Now that you mention it, it's true. After she came back from Yunnan, she became more depressed, but it's understandable. After all, she's been through so much. Yeah, Suyu, at the gas station, there were only you, Huasiqian and you. But Huasiqian is dead, so I can only ask you or Mion about what happened that day. But you know that Mion isn't in a good mood, so I don't dare to tell her everything that happened that day. So, can you tell me in detail what happened after you escaped from the gas station until the explosion? About that? Okay, I'll try to recall it. Hearing Chin-chu ask about what happened that day, Suyu didn't suspect anything. He tried his best to recall what happened that day, and even told him about hiding at an old woman's house and eating corn paste. Chin-chu listened quietly, without batting an eyelid. Then the explosion happened. When we woke up, we were in the hospital. That's what happened. I understand. What's wrong? Do you have any new clues? Suyu asked Chin-chu, feeling like he had something else to say. No, I'm just asking. Let's eat. Okay. After you came back, did Mion mention that she was going to bring the old woman and the little girl here? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. We did make a promise back then. Mion seemed to want to thank them properly, but I forgot about it after I came back. No, I'll get someone to do it right now. No, leave it to me. I'll do it. Chin-chu took the initiative to take over. This isn't a good idea? It's fine. After all, I'm doing it for Mion. It'll solve her problem. Okay. So you didn't suspect anything and thought that Chin Chu made sense. Then, the waiter served the dishes, and the two men ate slowly. Chin Chu confirmed one thing from Suyu's words. That was, the woman with the golden mask was present at the time of the explosion. Among the remains found, besides being compared to Huasiqian, the others were also tested. At that time, Chin Chu remembered very clearly that the police in Yunnan told him that they were all male corpses. In other words, the body of the woman with the golden mask wasn't among them. Then there was a big explosion. Suyu emphasized that Huasiqian was so close to the woman with the golden mask. But that woman had disappeared for no reason? And she escaped the explosion? How was that possible? So this woman, could it be that woman? The more Chin Chu thought about it, the more terrified he became. If the woman in his house was really the woman with the golden mask, then she must be very capable. After all, she could easily avoid the explosion and bribe the doctors in the hospital in a short period of time. Not only did she have babies, but she also made it seem like she was pregnant. This was a really big move. The more Chin Chu thought about it, the less he was in the mood to eat. He barely ate a bowl of rice, but Suyu had a good appetite. Chin Chu, I heard from Mion that you two aren't on good terms recently.
She even told you that.
You can't blame her. She felt wronged and complained to me. I think you've been together for so many years, you know best what kind of person she is. You shouldn't misunderstand her. You'd rather misunderstand me and think that I have bad intentions than misunderstand Mion. I've been with Mion since high school. I know my wife better than anyone else, Chin Chu said word by word. Chapter 4175. That's why you shouldn't treat her like that.
She even talked about divorce.
How serious do you think it is? Suyu tried to persuade Chin Chu out of kindness, hoping that they could talk things out. Divorce?
Haha, did she tell you that?
Chin Chu sneered. Of course she didn't mean it. Maybe you pissed her off, I think, Suyu explained. I think so. You're a man. Regardless of whether she's right or wrong, I think you should apologize to her. Mion hasn't had it easy all these years. Let me say something, but don't think I'm being nosy. Mion raised the twins by herself and helped you manage GK while taking care of the kids for more than 3 years. It was really hard. Although Tang Chuan, Xiaowei, and I took care of her, we couldn't really help her with the details. She still had to rely on herself. It's not her fault that the kids are gone. As I said, it's my fault. It was because she saved me, so I hope you won't take it out on her. I won't take it out on you. Mion saved you because she discussed it with me. I won't dwell on it. Then why is your relationship so strained recently? Maybe it's because Mion's been very fragile recently. I'll talk to her when I have time. Yeah, I think so too. Why can't you talk things out with her? Okay. Chin Chu's attitude was very good. He nodded no matter what Suyu said. After dinner, Chin Chu left first. Before he left, he didn't forget to remind Mion. Don't forget to pay the bill.
Huh?
Didn't you treat me? Suyu froze. Didn't you just say that you think you're richer than me? So, I'm giving you a chance. Damn. Chin Chu, you evil capitalist. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Who would have thought that the president of GK would go back on his word? Suyu, on the other hand, was in a good mood because Chin Chu's actions proved that they had a good relationship. They didn't hate each other and trusted each other. After all, they were in the mood to joke around. Waiter, the bill. President Su, the total is 680 yuan. Here. Suyu took out a few $100 bills and handed them over. Then, he took out his phone from the private room and posted it on his WeChat moments. Everyone come and watch. President Chin said he would treat me to dinner, but he ran away first and left me to pay the bill. Ha, what a scam. I think I should go to his house tonight and take a blue and white porcelain to vent my anger. Chin Chu unreasonably commented below. If President Su doesn't mind the imitation, feel free to hug her. Suyu replied to Chin Chu. Fine. You're ruthless enough. In order not to let me take advantage of you, you even replaced the porcelain bottles at home with imitation ones. Tang Chuan. Ha 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 ha. brother-in-law is mighty and domineering. Suyu replied to Tang Chuan. Who the hell are you with? Tang Chuan replied to Suyu. Ever since I got married, I've been a member of the Qin family. Even if I die, I'll still be a ghost of the Qin family. Suyu replied to Tang Chuan. Shameless. Wait until I see you. Pudding commented, my daddy has been a bit free lately. I rarely see him running orders. Handsome Su, you're in luck. Suyu replied to Pudding. Why does that sound so wrong? So, whose side are you on? Pudding commented, Handsome Su, if you're willing to buy me a dirty bag, I'll pretend to be on your side.
Suyu was speechless. Pretend? Pudding, come out.
I'll give you a good beating. You still want to pretend when I buy you a dirty bag? It's obvious that we're plastic flowers. Pudding replied, Haha, you're wrong. We're not plastic flowers. We're glass shards. Suyu replied to Pudding, Little brat, you want to hit me when I'm down? I'll tell Buyuan that you went to have dessert with your school idol last Wednesday after school. Chapter 4176. Because of Qin Chu's attitude, Suyu felt that Qin Chu and Huamin's relationship would definitely improve. Therefore, he was in a good mood and posted on his WeChat moments, which was rare. Han Yuiao also liked it in time. Then she commented, I have a bold guess. President Su, you really love President Qin. You're good to Sister Mian because you want to take the opportunity to get close to President Qin. Suyu replied to Han Yuiao, Do you dare to tell me where you are now? I'll save you, so that I can beat you to death. Han Yuiao replied to Suyu, Ha 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 ha, sure. The third door of the women's washroom next to the performance department on the third floor. Bring me a roll of toilet paper when you come. I want the good quality ones.
Thank you.
Suyu replied to Han Yuiao. Without the burden of an idol, Han Yuiao kissed Suyu and confessed her love to him domineeringly. She had already become a happy little clown. However, this was the best outcome. She wouldn't make things difficult for Suyu and wouldn't get hurt. Just like before, they got along happily. On the other hand, Qin Chu thought about a lot of things after returning from the Hunan restaurant. Then, he sent someone to pick up the grandfather and granddaughter, who had taken in Huamin, and the others to take refuge in the mountains of Yunnan. After doing all this, Qin Chu suddenly sent Huamin a video call. Huamin was drinking cocktails and enjoying the scenery on the rooftop of a luxurious hotel owned by GK. Unlike the real Huamin, Layla was a person who enjoyed life. She couldn't keep herself cooped up in South Hill Manor every day. To Huamin, it was a warm home. To her, it was an exquisite cage. Therefore, she took the opportunity to argue with Qin Chu to come out and buy all kinds of things. She even drank alone on the rooftop. Everyone knew that she was the chairman's wife, so they treated her with extra care. She still lived a life of being surrounded by stars. After accepting Qin Chu's video call, Huamin called out sweetly, Honey, where are you? Qin Chu asked indifferently when he saw that Huamin's back didn't look like a home's furnishings. I'm at our family's hotel. It's too boring to be alone, so I came to get some fresh air and have something to eat. Do you want to join me? No need. I just want to ask you something. What is it? So you mentioned to me today that when you guys were running for your lives in Yunnan, you seem to have met some kind of benefactor. He even said that you were going to bring that person back. Is that true? Huamin was momentarily stunned. Then, he immediately searched his mind for the information that Qin Chu had mentioned. Oh, there is such a thing.
I almost forgot about it.
Who are they? Where do they live? Give me their address, and I'll send someone to pick them up. After all, you promised to do this, so don't let Sue do it. It's not good. Okay, honey, but I'm drinking, and I'm a little dizzy. I'll think about it later and send you the information, okay? Mian, your memory wasn't so bad in the past. Even if you were drunk, you would remember everything. What's wrong with you now? Qin Chu stared at her with a sharp gaze. Layla felt very guilty. Then, she said coquettishly, Honey, maybe it's because I was too shocked this time. Maybe it's because of the explosion. All right, tell me when you remember. That's all. With that, Qin Chu hung up the phone. He knew that this would be the outcome. After Suyu mentioned this matter, He was even more certain that if it was the real Mian, she would never forget such a big thing. Huamian was someone who knew how to be grateful. Therefore, this fake Huamin was starting to give herself away. How long would it take to reveal her true colors? Qin Shu began to look forward to it. He had to tear off this woman's disgusting disguise. Chapter 4177. After hanging up the phone, Layla felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, Qin Shu liked Huamin very much. She had read a lot of information about them. She also shared a lot of common memories with Huamin. However, Qin Shu didn't look like a man who loved her deeply at all. Ever since they came back from Yunnan, they hadn't slept in the same bed. No matter how coquettishly she tried to make up with him, he didn't even do anything intimate. Qin Shu was still cold. He even subconsciously avoided her actions. Had she been discovered? That was impossible. Layla thought she had pretended well and imitated Huamin's charm very well. No one could see through her. Now, 002 had disappeared without a trace. As for her, when she left, she had boasted to her master. She had said that she would get videos or photos of Qin Shu being intimate with her. Therefore, she didn't dare to contact the headquarters. President Qin, don't force me. If I can't have you, I'd rather destroy you than let Huamin have you. On the rooftop, Layla smiled wickedly with a cocktail in her hand. At the headquarters of Imperial Star, Han Yueyao didn't expect to meet Yuan Bo here.
So, she was very surprised.
Hello, my tough girl. Why are you here? I have a photo shoot with your company. What a coincidence, right? I saw you on a business trip this morning.
Yeah.
I flew here to see you this afternoon. Did you miss me? Yuan Bo liked to tease Han Yueyao. Especially after their last cooperation, they had been interacting with each other frequently. However, Han Yueyao didn't reply to him much. Sometimes he would tag her on Weibo. Han Yueyao would reply a few times, but this guy seemed to be haunting her. I missed you so much that I almost forgot about you. It's okay. I'll try to visit you every week. That way, you won't forget me. Big brother, I beg you. Please let me go. Han Yueyao felt a headache coming on when she heard that they would see each other once a week. Call me hubby and I'll consider letting you go. Yuan Bo was probably used to flirting with girls, so his words were quite bold. For Han Yueyao, she didn't even dare to think about being called husband so intimately. So, he punched Yuan Bo in embarrassment. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and get back to work. I'm not busy. Your company's photographer hasn't arrived yet. I can take this opportunity to catch up with you. What happened? I heard that you took the initiative to visit your boss the other day and got rejected?
Yeah. So what?
Han Yueyao was still confident. Why don't you look for me? You'll definitely be satisfied with my service. Plus, I don't mind being flat-chested. After all, I have a pretty face. Damn. You filthy king. Your words are too dirty. I can't talk to you anymore. No, I'm leaving. Han Yueyao looked for a chance to run. Han Yueyao. I'm in love with him. Do you want to date him? Talk your ass. I don't have an uncle. I'm the only male in the family. You can only choose me. Fuck off. Han Yueyao covered her face and ran away quickly. This guy's level wasn't something ordinary people could accept. Han Yueyao thought she was thick-skinned, but she was still bullied away by Yuan Bo. Looking at Han Yueyao's fleeing figure, Yuan Bo smirked. Yuan Bo smiled mischievously. Big Yao Yao is such a nice girl. I really want to sleep with her. Hearing his words, his agent looked disdainful. Sleep with her? So, be it if you want to sleep with her? You're playing tricks on me. At the gate of the elite school in the city, the twins walked out hand in hand and saw Suyu's car parked at the gate. They were instantly delighted. Chapter 4178. Handsome Su. Handsome Su, you really came to pick us up. That's great. Little Bean's words were always more important than puddings. To take care of the twins' comfort, Su didn't drive a sports car to show off. Instead, he bought a new Audi A8L and drove the car himself. The twins got into the car under the envious gazes of their classmates. Suyu even prepared vanilla ice cream for the twins in the back of the car. Little Bean's eyes almost fell out when she saw the ice cream. Wow, there's ice cream too. Handsome Sue, I'll give you 32 likes. Your mommy doesn't allow you to eat ice cream, right? You can only eat it a few times at home, so you can occasionally be presumptuous here. Suyu smiled as he drove. Mommy has been extra generous recently. She lets us eat ice cream. Little Bean pouted. Oh, that's impossible. Your mommy is so old-fashioned. She uses the medical knowledge she learned to emphasize that we can't eat this, that, and that there's too much junk food, and it's unhealthy. Suyu obviously didn't believe it. Pudding said, "It's true, Handsome Sue. Mommy doesn't stop us from eating ice cream anymore." That good? I don't know. Anyway, Mommy seems to be different from before. Pudding was worried at the mention of her mommy. Hey, don't think too much. Your mommy is in a bad mood. We all understand. She'll be fine after a while. Suyu had always thought that Huamin's abnormalities were understandable because of this incident. On the way, Suyu chatted intimately with the twins. Until they arrived at the Su family's mansion. It was rare that Lord Su and Mr. Su were both here. As soon as the twins entered the house, they had a lot of fun. Even South Hill Manor didn't seem so lively. Qin didn't tell anyone that Bella was injured and hospitalized. He was afraid that too many people would talk and complicate things. After all, Qin wanted everyone to have too much contact with this fake Humin. She was an extremely dangerous person. Especially when Suyu talked about what happened that day and Qin analysis that this woman was the golden-masked woman. Therefore, the twins did not know that their aunt was in a vegetative state. She just happily ate at the Su family's house. During the banquet, Lady Su pulled her son aside.
I want to talk to you about something.
Go ahead, Mom. Do you know the young boss of Chuangxing Technology? Xia Guangyu? Yes, he used to be my classmate in high school. Yes, Xia Guangyu. His mother and I have a good relationship. Recently, she has been asking me to introduce girls to her. So? Suyu looked at his mother. I think Yao Yao is not bad. Are you going to introduce a boyfriend to her? Suyu asked directly. Yeah, aren't you Yao Yao's boss? If you agree, I'll ask her. Sure, I'm fine with it as long as she agrees. Suyu readily agreed. This was contrary to Lady Su's thoughts. She didn't really want to introduce a boyfriend to Han Yueyao. She just wanted to see her son Suyu's jealous expression. However, he didn't. Why did you agree so readily? Lady Su was displeased. What else can I do? Are you happy that I rejected you? Suyu smiled. Don't you feel uncomfortable that I'm introducing a boyfriend to Yao Yao? Lady Su finally couldn't help but ask her son. Mom, what's wrong with your question? Why would I feel uncomfortable that you're introducing a boyfriend to Han Yueyao? Suyu looked innocent. Chapter 40, 179. Forget it. Just pretend I didn't ask you anything. Obviously, Lady Su was angry and turned to leave. Oh, the old lady has a bad temper recently. Why is she acting like this? Is she going through menopause? Suyu was also baffled by his mother's behavior. To be honest, Suyu didn't think there was anything wrong with introducing a boyfriend to Han Yueyao. Maybe everyone had overestimated Han Yueyao's position in Suyu's heart. After all, falling in love with someone wasn't something that could happen overnight. Loving Huamin forever had become an inexplicable habit for Suyu. Therefore, he subconsciously rejected the idea of someone else replacing Huamin in his heart. Even a good girl like Han Yueyao couldn't steal Huamin from his heart so quickly. After dinner, the twins played for a while, and Suyu saw Little Bean was sleepy. So he walked the two kids home. Before she left, Mrs. Su still didn't give up and asked her son, Aren't you jealous at all?
No.
Let me tell you, there aren't many good girls like Yao nowadays. Don't regret it when you lose her. You won't get another chance like her. Suyu. After the unpleasant conversation with his mother, Suyu walked out. Little Bean got into the car first and kept sending voice messages to Gao Buyuan. What are Little Bean and Buyuan talking about? They're so excited. Oh, they're addicted to a game that tests IQ. They compete against each other with experience points. If they lose, they'll get red packets. I didn't know such a game existed. Why don't you play it? Suyu looked at Pudding in puzzlement. Because I have no opponents, Pudding replied in a domineering tone. Suyu gave her a thumbs up. I, Pudding, am domineering.
Haha.
You must be lonely without opponents. Do you want me to play around with you? No, you might as well send me a red packet. It's a waste of time. By the way, I might not lose. Suyu wasn't convinced. But you definitely won't win. Don't mess around. When I was in school, I was also a straight-A student. Later, your Lord Su made me join the army, so I gave up my studies. But you're still no match for me. Pudding explained to Suyu helplessly. Hey, Pudding, the more you say that, the more I refuse to accept it. Let's have a battle. How about it? All right, I'll fulfill your wish of being hung up and beaten. Suyu, what are you talking about? I think my strength is at least on par with yours. Suyu was eager to give it a try. In the end, Pudding fulfilled Suyu's wish to be tortured. It was supposed to be a best of 3, but in the end, Suyu fled in defeat after 1 round. He took the initiative to send Pudding a red packet of 8,888 yuan. The reason was simple. There were 10 questions in 1 round, and Suyu only got 1 right. It wasn't because he really knew the question, but because he guessed it. In the next 2 rounds, Suyu gave up. In Pudding's words, even if he did, he would be beaten by Pudding. Therefore, the two continued to walk to the car. Pudding suddenly stood there and didn't move. What's wrong? Suyu felt that something was wrong. Handsome Su, have you been in contact with my mommy recently? Huh. As expected of father and daughter. They have such tacit understanding that they both ask the same question. Thinking of the question Chin Chu asked him during the day, Suyu blurted out. Did my daddy ask you the same question? Pudding was shocked. Chapter 40, 180. Yeah, your dad asked me when we were having lunch today. Suyu didn't seem to know what was going on at all. Oh. Pudding nodded thoughtfully. What's wrong? What's wrong with your mommy? Nothing, I just feel like mommy isn't very happy. Pudding decided not to tell Suyu about it. After all, she didn't understand it yet. However, from what Suyu said, did her daddy notice it? Pudding felt her little heart pounding. Of course, she's unhappy. Your mommy has just gone through such a big thing. You guys should be more tolerant and treat her like a child. Suyu felt that no matter how pretentious Huamin was, it was reasonable. With Huamin's current mood and state, even if she did something overboard, she could be forgiven. After all, she had suffered so much and even lost a child. Pudding nodded and didn't say anything else. She got into the car. Suyu drove the twins back to South Hill Manor. He wanted to leave immediately. When they arrived at the door, Suyu didn't go in. However, he saw Huamin walk out from afar. Huamian took the initiative to walk out again, wearing very thin clothes. She was only wearing a beige windbreaker, and she looked delicate and lovely. You guys go in first. I want to talk to Uncle Su, Huamin said. Okay, Mommy. Pudding glanced at her mommy warily and then looked at Suyu. She sent a WeChat message to her daddy. Daddy, we're back from dinner at Grandma Su's house. Don't worry. Uncle Su drove us back. We're home now, but Mommy seems to have something to talk to Uncle Su about. They're at the door. Pudding's WeChat message was definitely a lot of information. Chin Chu immediately understood what he meant. Pudding was rarely so nosy in the past, nor would she voluntarily report her whereabouts. Therefore, Chin Chu immediately drove back. Mian, when Suyu saw Huamin, he was as happy as ever. Talk to me, I'm in a bad mood. Okay, then get in the car and tell me. It's too cold outside. Suyu quickly opened the car door, and Huamin got in. Chin Chu's mother saw Suyu's car parked outside. She saw the 2 children walk in and Huamin walk out. At first, he didn't think too much about it. However, after thinking about it, he felt that he still had to complain. His father. What's wrong? Mr. Chin raised his head. Mian seems to be seeing Suyu a lot lately. Isn't that normal? They are very good friends. Mr. Chin didn't think that there was anything wrong. But what can't they say on the phone or WeChat? It's so cold, I saw Mian put on a windbreaker and run out. Her car is parked at the entrance of our neighborhood. They should be in the car. Mama Chin sounded a little unhappy. She seemed to think that this wasn't something Huimin should do. You're thinking too much. It's in front of her house. Doesn't that mean that there's nothing going on between them? Don't think too much. Mian doesn't have it easy. Shu and her have been in a bad situation recently. As parents, we have to protect them and not destroy them. I'm not destroying them. I'm just complaining to you. I think that Mian is such a sensible child and shouldn't do something so impolite. Qin Chu's mother felt a little uncomfortable. Last time, she saw Huimin talking to Suyu at the door. This was the second time. Especially when she saw Huimin rush out when he heard that Suyu was at the door. It made her feel vaguely uneasy. Don't tell Chu when he comes back, Mr. Qin warned Mama Qin. Chapter 40, 181. Don't worry. I'm not senile yet. I won't tell Chu about this. Mama Qin knew that her son was tired and didn't want to distract him with family matters. Then, Mama Qin still didn't give up. She stood at the window of the living room and looked out. In fact, at such a distance, she couldn't see anything other than Suyu's car. Inside the Audi A8L, Suyu deliberately turned up the heater in the car so that Huimin, who was wearing thin clothes, would be warmer. Suyu, you met with Qin, my husband, today? Huimin pretended to ask casually. Yeah, we had lunch together. Didn't you see it on WeChat Moments? Suyu was still wondering why Huimin asked when he already knew the answer. Did he invite you? Yeah. Then this guy ran away and didn't pay the bill. He cheated me.
Suyu laughed.
Then, did Qin Chu say anything to you? Huimin asked. No, we were just chatting. He's always been a man of few words. Don't mention how awkward it was for us. If I had known, I would have brought Master in. Suyu complained about Qin Chu. That shouldn't be. With my husband's personality, he must have something to ask you if he took the initiative to have lunch with you. Huimin obviously didn't believe him. Oh, right. I remember that matter. It's about when we were going to pick up our savior. I told Qin Chu about it, and Qin Chu said he would handle it. Other than that, did he say anything else to you?
No.
What's wrong? Did something happen between you two again?
Oh, no.
I'm just curious. Seeing that Suyu was a little suspicious, Huimin didn't ask further. Suyu didn't say anything. He didn't think it was strange that Qin Chu asked him to have a meal. On the contrary, he felt that Qin Chu was looking for him to ease the tension between them and make things less awkward. Therefore, he did not mention to Huimin that Qin Chu had asked him about the explosion that day. The two of them were chatting. Qin Chu's Bentley came back. He parked it directly beside Suyu's car. Then he got off the car. Qin Chu is back? It was clear from the rearview mirror that Suyu stood up, opened the door, and walked out. Huimin also got out of the car with an ugly expression on his face. What are you talking about? Qin Chu looked at the two of them and asked casually, without any emotion. Talking about how to elope with Suyu? Huimin joked. Suyu was shocked. He felt that Huimin's joke was a little too much. Ahem, Dr. Hua, I can't take the blame for this. Kidnapping someone's wife is a big taboo. If people expose it on Weibo, I'll be hammered to death. So, please don't joke like this. Why are you so nervous? I'm just teasing my husband. Huimin looked at Qin Chu and smiled. Mian, you've been letting yourself go lately. You're becoming less and less like yourself. Do you like me like this? Huimin stared at Qin Chu with a smile in his eyes. Do you want to hear the truth? Qin Chu's lips curled up coldly. Of course. Huimin didn't know if he was acting coquettishly or provocatively. Anyway, Suyu, an outsider, felt that the atmosphere was a little strange and awkward. The truth is, I really don't like you like this. Qin Chu didn't give him face and replied directly. Huimin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. It seemed that he didn't expect Qin Chu to be so merciless. Ahem, why don't you two go home and joke around? I have something to do, so I won't disturb you. I'm leaving now. Suyu felt that the atmosphere between the couple was weird, and he felt uncomfortable listening to it. So, he found an excuse to leave. Suyu, let's have dinner together tomorrow? Huimin deliberately shouted in front of Qin Chu. Your husband is treating tomorrow, I'll come. After Suyu finished speaking, he got into the car, started the engine, and drove off. Watching the Audi A8L leave, Chin-Chu glanced at Humin. In a voice that was almost devoid of any warmth, he asked her, "What on earth do you want?" He directly used the word you and didn't say Mion because he knew that this cunning woman wasn't Mion, nor did she deserve to be Mion. Chapter 40, 182. Honey, what's wrong? Are you jealous? Humin asked, even though she knew the answer. Even her smile had a hint of hypocrisy. Didn't you say those things to Suyu on purpose for me to see? Isn't it normal for me to eat with Suyu? I've eaten a lot these past few years. When you were in the States, I had to eat with Suyu almost every day. Is there a problem? Humin obviously said these words to anger Chin-Chu. Do you think it's fun to do this? Chin-Chu's eyes were filled with disappointment. This was the only way to make Layla believe that Chin-Chu was really disappointed in Humin and not doubting her an imposter. What else can I do? My own husband is ignoring me. Can I go to another man for some comfort? Haha, do whatever you want. In the end, Chin-Chu sneered and chuckled at Humin. This chuckle annoyed Humin. She angrily turned around and followed Chin-Chu, grabbing his arm. However, Chin-Chu brushed her hand away without hesitation. He didn't give her any face, let alone treat her gently. Because he hated the way this woman was touching his body. Chin-Chu, do you not want to live with me anymore? Then let's get a divorce. Divorce?
Don't even think about it.
Just live like this. Chin-Chu said this and walked straight into the house. Humin was actually a little angry behind him, although she wasn't the real Humin. She was deeply immersed in the role, so Chin-Chu's reaction really made her feel despair for a moment. She originally thought that Chin-Chu would take care of her like how he took care of Humin in the past. It seemed that the master was right. Men were indeed unreliable. Even an excellent man like Chin-Chu couldn't be trusted. Chin-Chu and Humin came back one after another. Mama Chin saw this and felt bad. During dinner, Chin-Chu didn't eat and went straight to the study. Mama Chin felt sorry for her son. She scooped out a portion of dinner and personally carried the plate to the study. Chu. Mom, why are you here? Chin-Chu rubbed his temples. In fact, there was nothing to be busy with. It was just that he had a headache when he saw that woman. To ensure the safety of the family, he even installed many pinhole cameras and was prepared to monitor her 24/7. You haven't been in the past few days.
Why?
Are you busy with work? Mrs. Chin placed the dinner on the table and pointed at the soup. I made pork bone soup. It's delicious. Drink it while it's hot. Thank you, Mom. Chin-Chu was relieved that his mother cared about him at a time like this. He tiredly picked up the bowl of soup and sipped it. Chu, what's wrong with you and Mion recently? Did you fight? No, Chin-Chu denied. Chu, Mion has done a lot for our family. Don't fight with her. Even if she's a little willful, you have to bear with it. It'll be fine when she's in a better mood. This family can't fall apart. Mama Chin tried to persuade him. Hearing his mother's words, Chin-Chu smiled bitterly. No. How can the family fall apart? I'll always be true to Mion. That's good. Then you should communicate with Mion more and spend more time with her. Okay. Chin-Chu agreed immediately. After Mama Chin went downstairs, Chin-Chu looked at the bug planted somewhere in the study and smiled. At the dinner table downstairs, Layla's ear was bugged and she clearly heard the conversation between Chin-Chu and Mama Chin. It seemed that she was overthinking. Chin-Chu didn't suspect her. Otherwise, why would he say that he would always be true to Mion? Chapter 40, 183. Unfortunately, Chin-Chu was telling the truth, but he was only saying it to Mion. And Layla wasn't Mion, so, during the fight with Chin-Chu, the two of them had a hard time eavesdropping and counter-eavesdropping. At the dinner table, Little Bean looked at her mommy. Mommy, did you and Daddy fight? No, baby. Why do you ask? Humin looked at Little Bean with a smile. I feel like Daddy isn't eating at the table anymore. Grandma has to bring him food. What's wrong with you two? It's nothing. Your daddy is too busy. Humin didn't say much. Little Bean was innocent. Seeing that her mommy didn't say anything, she didn't ask. However, Little Bean felt that her mommy's smile was a little fake, especially when she smiled gently and kindly. In fact, if one looked closely at those micro-expressions, they were very unnatural. There was even a hint of strangeness in them. Little Bean lowered her head silently and ate in silence. She didn't participate in the conversation. Little Bean, how are you doing in the stock market recently? Pretty good, Little Bean answered Huamin. I heard that the Huasiqian Corporation's mess has been saved by you. Unfortunately, Huasiqian is dead. Otherwise, if he saw it, he wouldn't know how ashamed he would be. He's not even as good as a child. Perhaps he was too proud, but his tone really didn't sound like Huamin. With Huamin's personality, he would never say such exaggerated words. Little Bean couldn't help but look at her mommy. Mommy, although Huasiqian is a big bad guy, he died to save Mommy and handsome Sue. As the saying goes, the dead are the most important. Let's not talk about this person anymore.
Hee hee.
Baby, you're right. Let's not talk about this big bad guy. Hearing Little Bean's words, Huamin didn't say anything else. They didn't have a good time at dinner. Everyone knew that the atmosphere at home was different, so after dinner, the twins played with their grandparents in the living room. Huamin knew that Qin didn't want to see her now, so she didn't go to the study to pick a fight. Instead, he leaned on the wide bed and played with WeChat. The next day after Qin went to work, Huamin went straight to the headquarters of Imperial Star. When Huamin came to Suyu, Han Yueyao was joking with Suyu in the office. They were laughing happily when Huamin pushed the door open and walked in, startling Han Yueyao. Sister Mian, Han Yueyao greeted him immediately. What are you talking about? Huamin looked at her with complicated emotions in his eyes. I'm just reporting to President Su about my schedule for the next week. Oh, Mian, why are you here? To be honest, Suyu wasn't used to seeing Huamin so often. After all, Huamin was a busy man who was either at the hospital or at home. If Suyu wanted to meet her, he had to find an excuse first.
What?
Can I come to see you? Huamin asked Suyu. Of course not.
What are you talking about?
Suyu chuckled. I missed you, so I came to see you, Huamin said directly. His words made Han Yueyao and Suyu's expressions change subtly. Huamian didn't seem like someone who would say something so straightforward. Therefore, when she said, I miss you, it was really complicated. Han Yueyao couldn't figure out Huamin's thoughts. What was his purpose? Suyu was dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. Ahem, Dr. Hua, stop it. I'm not used to your words. Suyu coughed awkwardly. What? You don't want to see me? If you don't, I'll leave now. Chapter 40, 184. Seeing that Huamin was really going to leave, Suyu immediately stood up to stop him.
No.
Who dares to mess with our Dr. Hua? Sister Mian, are you feeling better? Han Yueyao immediately tried to smooth things over for Suyu and changed the topic. Yes, I'm fine. Haven't you noticed that I've been free recently? Huamin chuckled. That's good. Han Yueyao nodded. Seeing that Han Yueyao had no intention of leaving, Huamin purposely said to Suyu, Yes. Didn't you say you were going to treat me to dinner? Do you still want to go? I didn't eat well at home this morning. Suyu froze and glanced at his watch. But it's only 10 a.m. Isn't it a bit early? Then why don't you go shopping with me first? Suyu glanced at Han Yueyao. Do you want to have dinner together? In fact, Suyu's plan was simple. If Han Yueyao went, there would be 3 of them and no gossip would spread. After all, it wasn't good for her to be alone with Huamin. Although she knew it wasn't a big deal, it wouldn't sound good. Han Yueyao was hesitating whether she should go or not. Huamin said to Suyu, You're putting Yao in a difficult position. She's very dedicated and has so much work to do. How can she eat? Do you think everyone is a foodie like me? Hee hee.
Yeah.
You guys go ahead. I'll go back to work. President Su, I'll talk to you about the show later. Seeing Huamin's obvious intention, Han Yueyao hurriedly said goodbye. Okay. Suyu nodded and had to let Han Yueyao go first. Then Suyu took Huamin to eat. If it was in the past, Suyu would have taken Huamin shopping and bought her some gifts. But now, The relationship between Qin Chu and Huamin was so tense.
He didn't want to add to the mess.
With this idea in mind, Qin Chu directly took Huamin to a well-known Japanese restaurant. The two of them ate exquisite Japanese food in a small private room. What Su did not expect was that not only did Huamin not keep a low profile, he even took a picture and deliberately posted it on his WeChat moments. She posted 3 pictures. The first one was a selfie, with a beautiful angle. Perhaps it was the power of the Meta software, but the photos taken were indeed very beautiful. However, they didn't look like Huamin at all. The second table was filled with food for 2 people. Sashimi platter, raw beef, California rolls, tuna sushi, prawn tempura, pufferbone ramen, you name it. The third picture was also the most important one. Huamin had secretly taken a picture of Suyu eating. Although his head was lowered, he could still recognize Suyu at a glance. After all, his side profile was also unbelievably handsome. Moreover, he was wearing a white long-sleeve shirt. Under the light, the color of his hair was a little light. There was no problem with the angle at all. It could be said to be perfect. The funny thing was that when the picture was taken, there was a chandelier behind Suyu that coincided with him. Therefore, the whole picture looked as if the chandelier had grown directly on Suyu's head. Huamin attached the picture and wrote, "The weather is very good today. The Teletubbies treated me to Japanese food. I'm crazy about his perfect performance." After a while, the comments under Huamin's post became lively. Zhu Lingling. Fuck, shameless little bitch. You're eating good food without me. Jiang Xiaowei. Dr. Hua. How does it feel to eat food alone? Tang Chuan. Fuck, you two are having sex. Wei Liao. Awesome. Han Yueyao silently liked the post. Little Bean. Mommy, why don't you take me and my sister to eat with handsome Su? Pudding didn't like the post or leave a comment, feeling a little upset. Most importantly, Qin Chu only glanced at it coldly and put it down. He wouldn't be angry or jealous. After all, it wasn't the real Humian. Qin Ning. Sis-in-law, does my brother know that you're eating with Lord Su so openly? Chapter 40, 185. Everyone knew that Qin Ning's words were meant to be a joke. However, Huamin took it a little too seriously. He replied to Qin Ning privately, "Your brother doesn't care who I'm eating with anymore as long as it's not him." After reading this comment, Qin Ning didn't react for a long time. She and Tang Chuan were waiting for their flight at the airport. After celebrating her father's birthday, they would fly back to China. Tang Chuan, come here. Qin Ning gestured for Tang Chuan to come over. Tang Chuan ran over with 2 cups of Starbucks in his hands. To him, Qin Ning's call was like an imperial edict. What's the matter, little ancestor? Look at this sentence. Qin Ning pointed at her phone. Oh, I see it. How do you feel after reading it? I feel like sister-in-law and brother-in-law had a fight? As expected, even Tang Chuan, who didn't have a high EQ, he could tell that something was wrong. Don't you think that after sister-in-law came back this time, she and my brother felt weird? I didn't really talk to them. Didn't they say that they would let sister-in-law rest first? I didn't talk to them too much. But Lord Su is more depressed than before. After all, he feels guilty. Strange. When I get back, I'll talk to sister-in-law and see what's going on. Qin Ning didn't reply to Huamin, but she took this matter to heart. While Huamin and Su were eating, her phone rang. It was a message notification in the WeChat group. It turned out to be Jiang Xiaowei, Zhu Lingling, and her 3 friends. Jiang Xiaowei. Mian, let's have dinner together tonight. Zhu Lingling. Yeah. The 3 of us haven't gotten together in a long time. Mian, are you feeling better? Can we eat seafood? Huamin glanced at her indifferently. I have something to do tonight, so I won't be able to go. Jiang Xiaowei. Okay, let's meet another day. Zhu Lingling. Okay, let me know when the time comes. Huamin did not reply. Jiang Xiaowei vaguely felt that after Huamin came back, she and Zhu Lingling were obviously estranged. Was it because Huamin hadn't adjusted his mentality or something else? Qin Chu's office Yixin suddenly rushed in. Brother-in-law, what happened? My mom fainted. She's at the hospital. Jixin was panting heavily. It was obvious that he had run all the way here. How could this be? I don't know. The hospital called. I'll go take a look. I'll go with you. Qin Shu put down the things he was doing. Recently, everything had really come together. Bella was unconscious, and Jingda had mysteriously disappeared. Yang Meirong suddenly fainted while taking care of Bella in the hospital. Perhaps the old lady had too much on her mind, and the blow was too great. Especially when Jingda suddenly disappeared. The old lady's mood of regaining what she had lost was completely shattered. She was afraid that Jingda would never come back. But how could Qin Shu dare to tell his mother-in-law that Jingda was an imposter and a monster? It was better to treat it as a missing person and leave her with something to remember. On the way to the hospital, Qin Shu drove, and Jixin sat in the passenger seat. Brother-in-law, is there any news about my dad? Did you ask Brother Gao Ran? Jixin still had hope for Jingda. No news. Brother-in-law, should we tell my sister about this? Jixin panicked. No need to tell her. In Qin Shu's opinion, it was better for his mother-in-law to stay away from this imposter as much as possible. Otherwise, it would only be more dangerous. What if something happens to my mom and my sister can't see it? Will she blame us? Chapter 40, 186. Jixin was a little pessimistic. She'll be fine, trust me. Qin Shu was full of confidence and was determined not to tell Humin. The two of them drove all the way to the first hospital. Yang Meirong had already recovered. The attending doctor walked out and said unobjectively, Ms. Yang's heart isn't good, her blood pressure is very high, and she can't stand external stimuli. She might have been too emotional recently and fainted. She's not suitable to take care of people here. I suggest you let her stay in the hospital for a few days for observation to stabilize. Where's my mother-in-law? Qin Shu asked the doctor. She's in the intensive care unit. You can go and see her, but don't take too long. Prepare to give her a sedative later, and let her sleep a little longer. Qin Shu nodded and walked in with Jixin. As soon as he entered, he saw Yang Meirong lying on the hospital bed with a haggard face. Qin Shu was very sad. If his Mian came back one day, she would be very sad to see that he didn't take good care of her mother. Qin Shu silently adjusted his emotions. Then he walked in, and Jixin followed behind him, secretly crying. It had only been a few days, but the family had suffered a series of blows. First, Bella was attacked and fell into a coma. Then, Jingda disappeared for no reason, or rather, he left without saying goodbye. Now, his mother couldn't take the blow and fell ill. For Jixin, he couldn't take so many heavy blows at once. So, he lost the ability to deal with things and only knew how to cry. Mom. Qin Shu walked over to the hospital bed. Chu, you're here. MHM. Yang Meirong looked at Jixin, who was crying behind Qin Shu. She waved her hand. Brat, don't cry. I'm not dead. Mom, don't talk nonsense. You'll live a long life. I haven't been filial enough to you. Jixin choked with sobs. I'm fine. I just haven't rested well recently. Don't worry. Send someone to take care of Bella. What if she wakes up and is thirsty or hungry? Yang Meirong was famous for her sharp tongue but soft heart. She really loved Bella. Mom, don't worry. I've already arranged for 24-hour care. There will be 3 groups of professional nurses taking turns to look after Bella. Qin Shu reached out and held his mother-in-law's hand to comfort her. Shu, is there any news about your Uncle Jing? Finally, this question was asked. Qin Shu felt sad. He had killed the fake Jingda with his own hands. Now, facing his mother-in-law's accusation, he didn't have the heart to say it. There's no news yet. Uncle Jing might have run away on his own. Maybe he's in a mess, so he ran away from home. Don't worry. Maybe he'll come back soon. Okay, I think so too. He's such an honest person. I'm just afraid that he'll be cheated and bullied outside. Mom, Dad won't do that. He's an adult and can take care of himself. You're the one who needs to worry about yourself. You have to take care of yourself, Jixin said as he walked up to her and cried. I'm fine. It's just a small problem. Where's your sister? My sister doesn't know yet. My brother-in-law won't let her tell you. Okay, Chu, you're right. Don't tell me on. It's an old problem of mine. Don't make her worry, okay? Jixin nodded. Chu, I miss my granddaughters. Yang Merong's voice was weak. Pudding and Little Bean, they make me happy. I'll bring them over after school. Chu, my daughter has had a hard life. She hasn't enjoyed much in these years. If one day I'm gone, she won't even have a family. She'll be so pitiful. You have to take good care of her. Yang Merong's words sounded like her last words. Qin Chu's heart was in turmoil. Chapter 4187. Mom, don't say that. You'll get better. It's not a big deal. I'm a medical student, so I know it best. Bella will wake up for sure. Qin Chu had always been a man of few words and didn't know how to comfort people. However, when he heard his mother-in-law's words, he almost cried. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll rest well. After a long time of coaxing, Yang Meirong finally fell asleep. Jixin, you don't have to go to the company for a while. Brother-in-law, will you be able to handle it? After Bella fell into a coma, the company was already very busy. If Jixin didn't go, it was hard to imagine how busy Qin Chu would be. It's okay. Ning and the others will probably arrive in China tomorrow. I'll ask Ning to help. Okay. Then I'll stay in the hospital to take care of my mom and wife.
Yeah.
Just take care of our family. Don't worry about anything else, Qin Chu instructed. Okay. I'll listen to you, brother-in-law. Also, don't talk to your sister for a while. Huh? Jixin was confused. Why couldn't he talk to his sister? Your sister and I have some private matters to deal with. She probably won't come for a while. If she comes to you, just brush her off. It's best if you don't meet her. All right then, you guys take it easy. Jixin didn't know what they were up to, but he trusted Qin Chu 100%, so he nodded and agreed to do what they said. At the headquarters of Liu Yan's mercenary group, ever since Xiao Fei came, he hadn't slept well. In other words, he hadn't had a good night's sleep since Liu Yan disappeared. Those who stayed with him almost went all over the world to look for Liu Yan. When they heard about someone who looked like Liu Yan, they immediately went to check. However, after so long, there was still no news of her. This made Xiao Fei feel more and more uneasy. Young Master Xiao. What's up? Look who's here. Liu Yan's subordinates were now Xiao Fei's subordinates. He walked in with a man to Xiao Fei's office. The man was dressed very plainly and wore a sun hat. He looked like an ordinary old man. But the moment the old man took off his hat, Xiao Fei was shocked. Uncle.
Liu.
Seeing the professor, Xiao Fei was extremely excited. Over the years, whether it was the rumors from the outside world or what he had seen with his own eyes, Professor Liu was the most powerful person Xiao Fei had ever met. The reason why he was said to be amazing was because his profound medical skills could bring people back from the dead. Even Liu Yan couldn't compare to her dad in terms of intelligence and scientific research. Sit, little Fei. Uncle Liu, I've been looking for you for a long time. Yeah, I was targeted a few days ago. I blocked my signal for a long time. Then I heard that you took over Yan's mercenary group, so I came here. Uncle Liu, I'm not trying to monopolize you. Xiao Fei seemed to want to explain to Professor Liu that he didn't do it for the sake of taking over Liu Yan's hard work, as the rumors said. There's no need to say more. I've watched you grow up since you were a child. I know better than anyone what kind of person you are. Xiao Fei was comforted by Professor Liu's high praise and trust. Let's go into the secret room and have a chat. Then, Professor Liu opened the door to the secret room. This was a place full of anti-eavesdropping devices that no hacker could crack. Obviously, the conversation between Professor Liu and Xiao Fei would be too confidential. He didn't want a third person to hear it. Chapter 4188. They entered the secret room one after the other. Then Professor Liu closed the door behind them. The secret room was only 40 square meters in size. However, the decoration was extremely luxurious. It was a bit like a traditional Chinese tea house, with an antique flavor. The tea table was made of rosewood from Hainan. Professor Liu sat down, and Xiao Fei sat across from him. You still haven't heard from Yen, right?
Yet no.
Professor Lu nodded. Uncle Lu, do you know where Yen is?
I know she's not dead.
Xiao Fei was afraid to hear bad news about Lu Yen from Professor Lu.
Don't worry. That girl is very lucky and won't die. I think.
I might know who has her. Professor Lu lowered his head and said slowly.
Who?
Xiao Fei stood up in excitement. He wanted to rescue her immediately. No matter who had her, even if she was in space, he would bring her back. That was Xiao Fei's determination. Sit down first, little Fei.
Listen to me.
Professor Lu waved his hand to calm Xiao Fei down. About 10 seconds later, the professor said word by word, I think Yen might be in Linya's hands.
Linya?
Hearing this name, Xiao Fei felt that it was very familiar, but he didn't have time to think. Before he could think about it, Professor Lu said, Linya is my wife, Yen and Mion's mother. Xiao Fei was stunned. He remembered that he had heard the name Linya from Lu Yen. Lu Yen went to Iceland almost every year and kept her whereabouts a secret. She didn't even go into the cave when she went to Iceland, afraid that someone would find her and destroy her mother's ice coffin. So, she traveled over mountains and rivers just to see the cave from afar as if she was seeing her mother. In Lu Yan's heart, the name Linya was sacred. It was obvious that Lu Yan loved her mother very much. When there were no photos of Linya in the world, Lu Yan had a sketch of her. This was Lu Yan's secret, and the biggest secret that Xiao Fei knew. No matter how powerful Lu Yan was, she was still a little girl, especially in front of her parents. A child who lost his mother at a young age would have a severe sense of insecurity, unlike Huamin. Huamin grew up with his adoptive mother and even lived with his stepfather for a few years. Therefore, Huamin did not lack much parental love. Lu Yan, on the other hand, had been on the run with Professor Lu since she was a little girl. Then, her mother wasn't by her side. When she got her first period, she felt helpless and panicked. He even thought that he was injured. Otherwise, how could there be so much blood? That feeling of ignorance and confusion was something that no emotion could make up for. So, both Professor Lu and Xiao Fei knew how important Linya was to Lu Yan. Uncle Lu, but Auntie Linya many years ago. Xiao Fei didn't say it clearly, but Professor Lu knew what he meant. Yes, when Linya was injured, I treated her. She was in a state of brain death. I couldn't accept it, so I've been freezing her in an ice coffin all these years. All these years, I've been looking for a way to bring her back to life, but I failed. Then how did she? The more Xiao Fei listened, the more confused he became. Since Uncle Lu couldn't find a way to bring Linya back to life, how did she kidnap Lu Yan? Was she a ghost? Chapter 40, 189. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I have a feeling that Linya might have woken up, although I don't know how she did it. Professor Lu and Linya had been together for many years and had a subtle telepathy. However, Xiao Fei was completely confused. Uncle Lu, you, and Auntie Linya are husband and wife. If she wakes up, shouldn't she come to you immediately? Why did you take Yin away? Why didn't you let her contact us? Maybe she was coerced. You don't understand how complicated our circle is. Although Professor Lu and Dr. Linya had the highest honor. However, he was indeed targeted by many ambitious people, but Professor Lu wasn't going to hide from those people. What do we need to do now? Send your people to continue the search. I'll give you a few places where I think Linya might appear. Let me know as soon as you have any news. Okay. I have a feeling that Linya will contact me. Professor Lu guessed. Uncle Lu, about Sister Mion? Don't contact Mion. Otherwise, it will get more and more chaotic. I don't want her to get involved. Professor Lu thought his daughter was safe and didn't want Humin to get involved in such a complicated matter, but she was already. But brother-in-law has been trying to contact you. I can't contact him. His communication network is being monitored. I don't know who did it. I have to be careful. So powerful? Xiao Fei felt the situation was getting more and more complicated. Fortunately, Professor Lu was here. He had a feeling that there would be news of Yen soon. In the underwater palace on the other side of the earth, faced with Huamin's question, Linya remained silent. Humin's question was so sharp that she couldn't figure it out even if she racked her brains. Mother, why did she want to clone herself? What was her purpose? But obviously, Linya had no intention of answering. Mion, you'll be here for a long time. I'll explain it to you slowly. Don't worry. No, I need to go home. Humin stood up and was about to leave with his big belly. Mion, do you still need to go back to that house? Layla has completely replaced you. No one noticed that you're missing, no one. Linya's voice was very clear. Humin definitely felt uncomfortable when he heard it. She knew Layla's strength, and she also knew how similar Layla was to her. No, my daughter, my husband. They'll recognize me. Take a look at this. Linya waved her hand, and an image appeared on the white wall. Qin and Humin were having breakfast with the two kids. It was a harmonious scene. Humin felt a slight pain in his heart. After the explosion, no one remembers you. Their Humin has gone back. Look, the man you've trusted and loved for so many years is just like that. He can't recognize you. He even slept with Layla. Your man betrayed you. Physically and mentally, he betrayed you. Shut up. Humin turned around with red eyes and glared at Linya. His voice was a little hoarse. Qin won't do that. He's not that kind of person. I don't believe he'll touch Layla. Then take a look at this. Linya smiled strangely. She changed the image again. Chapter 40, 190. Linya specially chose some photos that Layla sent back. In them, Layla was about to hug Qin, but she couldn't tell what Qin's emotions were. However, from the photos alone, the scene was indeed ambiguous. Are you trying to fool me with photoshopped photos? Humin sneered. You're an expert hacker yourself. You should know if these are photoshopped. Mion, stop lying to yourself. Those ordinary people don't deserve you. Stay with mommy. Stay with mommy. I really don't understand. Are you my biological mother? Mion held her belly as tears rolled down her cheeks. Other mothers do what's best for their children. They want their daughters to be happy. But you keep saying that you're my mother. But what did you do? You created a monster that looks exactly like me. Then, you let that monster replace me and sneak into my beloved home to confuse my family. You watched me suffer. You don't deserve to be my mother. You're not even 1/10,000th of my adoptive mother. Linya, if you're really Linya, I can only say that Dad was blind to fall in love with such a terrifying person like you. Humin scolded Linya. She was such a gentle person and was a good child who respected her adoptive mother and mother-in-law. Now, she was scolding her biological mother. It was obvious that Linya had forced her into a corner. The thought of that monster facing her family in her own home made her feel heartbroken. Humin's heart ached. It wasn't because he was worried that the woman would sleep in the same bed as Qin. More importantly, she might hurt her two daughters at any time. That was what Humin was most worried about. It's okay if you don't understand now. When you slowly understand my painstaking efforts, you'll know how I feel. I don't blame you, Mion. Mommy doesn't blame you. Surprisingly, Linya didn't get angry. Instead, she looked at Humin lovingly. She looked like the Virgin Mary, which made Humin want to vomit. Humin glared at Linya. Don't ever call me Mom. You don't deserve it.
Messiah.
My lord.
Take her to rest.
Yes. Miss Mion, let's go. Humin knew that Linya would not tell her the truth in such a short time. Therefore, no matter how much she asked, she couldn't get an answer. It was better to recuperate and slowly think of a way to escape. At the very least, she had to protect the little guy in her belly first. Then, she would think of a way to escape, go home, and see her beloved family. On the way back, Humin did not say a word.
He was in low spirits.
Miss Mion, please don't talk back to the master in the future. All these years, I've never seen anyone who dared to talk to her like that. Or rather, to be able to survive after being so presumptuous. If it wasn't for her love for you, perhaps you would have already. Messiah didn't finish her sentence, but Humin knew what she was going to say. He had talked back to that woman just now, but he was still safe and sound. He wondered if he was lucky to escape. Messiah. Layla is also a clone. She created her, right? Huamin had roughly guessed the origin of Layla, who looked exactly like him, from Linya in the cave. Yes, Miss Layla was cloned exactly, like Miss Huamin. She used Miss Huamin's cells, so you're closer than twins. You can say that she's the second you. Messiah said word by word. Chapter 4191. But what's the point of her creating this monster? Huamin's face was cold the whole time. This was the most shocking thing she had ever seen in her life. A person who claimed to be her biological mother. She had personally created a monster that looked exactly like her, and then she conspired with this monster to destroy her family. Actually, at this point, Messiah seemed to want to say something but stopped. Huamin knew that she was just a maid and didn't want to make things difficult for her. Messiah, I won't force you to say it. I understand your difficulties. She lowered her voice and whispered to Messiah. No, I actually saw Master create Miss Layla with my own eyes. In fact, you might not believe it even if I tell you. Master created Miss Layla many years ago on your birthday night. Master couldn't suppress her longing for her daughter, so she created Miss Layla. At first, she just wanted an identical daughter to accompany her. Later, obviously, Messiah didn't dare to say what happened later. What did Linya want to do? What was her purpose? There must be a huge conspiracy behind it. However, Huamin felt that Messiah was telling the truth. She missed me. Why didn't she come to me? Why did she create a monster? I don't understand this logic. That's because she couldn't find you. Like your father, as parents, they all want you to live a peaceful and happy life. If that's the case, why did you disturb me now and ask that monster to replace me? Huamin suppressed the anger in his heart and confronted Messiah. That's because a wish of Master's all these years is about to come true. A grand plan? A grand plan? Huamin felt that his guess was right. She created a clone of Linya and went to her father's side. Then, she hid in this underwater palace for so many years. It definitely wasn't to cultivate Buddhism. She must be plotting something. But what exactly is she plotting? Huamin couldn't figure it out and felt that his brain capacity wasn't enough. Messiah, since she wanted me and created my clone, what about Yen? Does she have one too? Could there be someone who looks exactly like Xiao Yan? Huamin didn't even dare to think about it. Yen herself was already very powerful. If she had a clone, then what would she become? Miss Yen doesn't have a clone because she isn't the Lord's daughter. What are you talking about? Messiah, Yen is my sister. How can she not be Linya's daughter? I don't think Master told you that, Miss Yen. She's just your half-sister. Same father but different mothers? How could this be? Messiah, you're not joking with me, are you? Huamin was in disbelief. Your subordinate doesn't dare to joke. These are all true, Messiah said very seriously. But Huamin just couldn't figure it out, but that's not right. What half-father? Could it be that Dad had other wives? That's not right. This doesn't make sense. This conflicted with all of Huamin's previous hostages. Just as he was wondering, Huamin suddenly had a flash of inspiration and a terrifying thought struck him. She nervously and excitedly held Messiah's hand. Messiah, do you mean my sister Liu Yan is the daughter of Linya's clone? Seeing that Huamin had finally figured it out, Messiah nodded slightly. Huamin felt like his head was about to explode. How many years had that clone Linya lived with Dad? How could a genius like Dad not realize that it was fake? And he even had Yen with the clone? Then, would Qin Chu not be able to recognize Layla in the end and have a child with that monster? After this thought came to him, Huamin felt his entire body turn cold. He didn't dare to think about it anymore. Chapter 4192. At the Shun family mansion. Wei Ying and Shin Mingxi returned from the business banquet. They drove only one car, which was Wei Ying's black Porsche Panamera. Shin Mingxi was drunk, so he sat in the front passenger seat. He put his hand on Wei Ying's thigh from time to time, looking very heartwarming. After remarrying Wei Ying, Shin Mingxi worked harder and didn't rely on the Wei family. Instead, he built up the Shen family, which was on the verge of bankruptcy. Although he was busy with his business, it didn't affect his time with weighing. Sure enough, as time went by, the last one was always the best. Shen Mingxi gradually realized this and cherished the time he spent with weighing more than ever. Honey, are you tired? I'll drive for a while. No, we'll be home in a few minutes. You drank too much and it's dangerous. I'll drive. Wei Ying smiled. After they got out of the car, Shen Mingxi took off his jacket and wrapped it around Wei Ying. It's really not necessary. Is it that cold? You'd better wear more. Look at the short sleeves of your suit. Your arms are exposed. They're 3/4 sleeves, Wei Ying explained, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Let's go in. I asked Danny Wu to make some white fungus lotus seeds. Drink it while it's hot. Okay. Wei Ying was wrapped in Shen Mingxi's arms sweetly as the couple walked into the mansion. The housemaid placed 2 bowls of white fungus lotus seeds on the coffee table in the living room. Shen Mingxi picked up the remote control and switched to the finance channel to watch the news. Wei Ying suddenly thought of something. Tugging at Shen Mingxi's sleeve, she asked, Honey, have you noticed something strange recently?
What?
Lord Su seems to be very close to Sister Humin. Isn't that normal? Humin is Lord Su's goddess. Shen Mingxi thought it was normal. That's true, but they seem to be interacting with each other quite frequently recently. They've had dinner together a few times already, and Sister Humin even posted about it on her WeChat moments. Yeah, this doesn't seem like Humin's personality, but I heard that she and Lord Su have been different since they came back from Yunnan. Maybe it's because they survived a disaster that they cherish their current lives even more? Shen Mingxi analyzed. I hope so, but won't Sister Humin's husband mind? They're together so often. Wei Ying could tell just by looking at Hua Min's WeChat moments. Therefore, the person involved must have felt even worse, but since it was their family business, Wei Ying only told Shen Mingxi about it in private. First hospital after Qin Chu picked up the twins from school, he went directly to the hospital to visit his mother-in-law. Many of the medical staff in the first hospital used to be Hua Min's colleagues or subordinates. Therefore, when they saw the 2 children, everyone was very enthusiastic. Some doctors on duty even bought snacks, milk, and toys for them. It was obvious that Humin was very popular. Faced with everyone's enthusiasm, the twins were very polite. After getting their daddy's permission, they accepted the toys and thanked him politely. Thank you, Auntie. You're welcome. They're so cute. The 2 little guys are getting more and more beautiful. By the way, where's Vice Director Hua? How come I haven't seen her in the past few days? A doctor asked casually. After all, Humin's mother and sister-in-law were both hospitalized here. Humin hadn't shown up even once, so everyone found it strange. Oh, Mian hasn't been feeling well recently and is recuperating at home. Qin Chu found a random excuse. President Qin, if Vice Director Hua comes to the hospital, you must tell us. We haven't seen her in a long time. Chapter 40, 193. Okay, I'll definitely tell her. Thank you, everyone. After dealing with everyone's enthusiasm, Qin Chu walked into the ward with the twins. Jixin was wiping Bella's face, so Yang Meirong was alone in the room. When the children came in, she was watching TV. Grandma, Grandma, the 2 little guys ran over one after another and called out sweetly. Yang Meirong was in a good mood. She immediately got up and leaned against the headboard. "Io, my babies, come, let Grandma take a look. Be careful, Grandma is still sick and is still getting an injection. Don't touch Grandma's fore," Qin Chu reminded them in a low voice. Got it, Daddy. Little Bean nodded mischievously and took out a lollipop that someone had just given her. She handed it to Grandma. Grandma, have some candy? When I was sick and had an injection, my mommy would give me candy and I wouldn't feel so much pain. You're a smart girl. You're a glutton. Yang Meirong smiled brightly. Grandma, do you want some water? I'll get you some. Pudding, on the other hand, was more low-key and wanted to pour water for Grandma. Grandma, why are you sick? You were so careless. Did you go out to square dance and forget to wear long johns? Little Bean asked with her hands on her hips. Ha 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 ha, don't make Grandma laugh. My stomach hurts from laughing. As soon as Little Bean opened her mouth, everyone was overjoyed. Chin-Chu took the opportunity to sit on the sofa in the ward and take out his phone. He opened his email and read the company's emails. The two children were like pistachios, coaxing Grandma. When Grandma was young, she didn't wear long johns because she wanted to look beautiful. But now that I'm old, I have to wear them. I wear them every day. Pudding walked to the end of the bed and gently lifted the blanket. Grandma, are your legs sore? I'll rub them for you.
No, no, no.
My babies, I'm happy that you came to see me. You don't have to do anything. I know you're good children. Yang Meirong had an 4-drip in one hand, and her other hand never left the two children. She patted Pudding's head and kissed Little Bean's face. She was so happy during dinner. Yang Meirong ate more than usual when the nurse brought her a nutritious meal. The two children sang English songs and danced the Little Swan Ballet for their grandmother. Yang Meirong was elated. They stayed there until 7 o'clock in the evening, and the two children were a little sleepy. Chin-Chu then stood up and said, Mom, we'll go back first. We'll visit you in a few days. Yes, the road is slippery. Be careful when you drive, Chu, Yang Meirong said. Sure. As Chin-Chu walked out with the twins, Little Bean suddenly asked a strange question. Daddy, why isn't the new grandpa here to take care of Grandma? Grandma is so sick. Isn't he Grandma's husband? Chin-Chu was speechless. Grandpa probably ran away when he found out that Grandma was sick. He doesn't look like a reliable person, Pudding said with her head lowered. Yes, he went on a long trip and hasn't returned yet. As for the children, Chin-Chu didn't say much. He just vaguely responded, Daddy, I like this grandma. I like the grandpa in America. This was what Lil Bean said. Pudding nodded in agreement, which was rare. Daddy, when will that grandpa come to our house again? Pudding was actually thinking that since Grandpa was such a powerful person, he might be able to see through this strange mommy when he came to their house. Chapter 4194. That Grandpa. I reckon he'll be here soon. Chin-Chu had a feeling that if there was really a big plan behind this, Professor Lu would definitely come. In that case, Professor Lu would definitely show up. After all, this was beyond his ability to deal with. Imagine, someone as powerful as Lu Yen had gone to Yunnan with him. But after the explosion, Lu Yen mysteriously disappeared. How terrifying was the power behind it that could make Lu Yen disappear without a trace in the blink of an eye, and even her corpse was nowhere to be found. No one knew. But Chin-Chu knew that those people weren't simple. In fact, ever since he and Rick found out that Zhao Qingyao's backer was related to the Doomsday Reaper, they had been worried. Chin-Chu had begun to worry. All these years, the Doomsday Reaper was only a legend and no one had seen it. Chin-Chu's only keepsake, the lighter, it was given to him by a mysterious woman in the U.S. 4 years ago. Could it be that those people had been targeting him since 4 years ago? The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. Later, Chin-Chu didn't hear what the twins asked him. At the headquarters of Imperial Star, at the last minute, Suyu worked overtime and held a high-level meeting. When he came out, it was already 8 p.m. When he went downstairs, he ran into Han Yueyao on the first floor. Why are you still here? Suyu was puzzled. Spicy hot pot. Can't you taste it? Spicy hot pot? Suyu was confused. Yeah, I danced until late too. I heard from my agent that you worked late too. You and probably haven't eaten yet, right? Let's go eat spicy hot pot together. I know there's a new restaurant across the street, and it's super delicious. The chili is all flown in from Chongqing. The owner is from Sichuan. Han Yueyao said so much because she wanted Suyu to eat with her, and snickered and coughed. Well, you two go ahead. I can't eat anything too spicy, or I'll get a stomachache. I've been craving Shangxi Rijiamo recently. I'll drive to the Shangxi Liangpi in the commercial square to eat. Alright, let's go then. Come back to pick me up after you're done eating. Suyu gave the car key to In and walked with Han Yueyao to the spicy hot pot restaurant she had mentioned. Actually, these snacks were what young girls like to eat. Suyu really didn't like these. He agreed because there were a lot of people near the elevators on the first floor. If he refused, the little girl would lose face. So, Su-yu went to the spicy hot pot restaurant with her without hesitation. There were a lot of people in the Malatang shop. Fortunately, the two of them managed to find a table for two in the corner. She asked excitedly, "Boss Su, what do you want to eat?" "Anything is fine. Just order." Su-yu didn't know how to cook because he hadn't eaten it before. She went to the buffet area and picked up a lot of vegetables. Since Su-yu was a carnivore, she added more meat. When she paid the bill, it was 98 yuan. She took 2 bottles of iced soda, which was famous locally for its sweet and sour taste. It cost a total of 102 yuan. When Han Yueyao sat back down, Su couldn't help but sigh. Am I too outdated? I don't know what these things are. Isn't spicy hot pot a few yuan for a big bowl? Why did you spend more than 100 yuan? Ha ha ha. How many years has it been since you last ate this? A few yuan is the price 10 years ago, right? Han Yueyao teased Su-yu. Su-yu was speechless. How is this sushi you had with Sister Mian for lunch? Han Yueyao asked casually. It was delicious and authentic. It tasted similar to the ones I had in Osaka. I'll take you there when I'm free. Su-yu was scrolling through his WeChat moments on his cell phone and said casually. But Han Yueyao felt sweet in her heart, and her cheeks blushed. Chapter 40, 195. As the two of them were eating, 2 girls walked over from a nearby table. They looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. No autographs, no photos. Su said in a formal tone. After all, Su had many fangirls. So, there was a reason why he didn't like to come to such a civilian restaurant. Usually, he would have a private room for his gatherings. This was the first time he ate in such a public place. In order to get to know Humin better, he went to Aoxian's ramen a few times. Once, he was blocked by a group of girls in Aoxian's ramen, asking for autographs and photos. The sleeves of the new Armani shirt he bought for Su-yu were torn open from then on. Su-yu decided not to play the role of a black-faced uncle and directly rejected them. Who knew? The 2 girls ignored Su-yu and looked at Han Yueyao politely.
Wow.
Han Yueyao, you're so beautiful in person. Your face is so small. We're fans of your dance. We're all from the dance academy. The dances you participated in were very difficult, but you did a great job. We like you so much. Thank you. Han Yueyao replied politely. Can we take a photo with you? Of course. Wow, you're awesome. So, the 2 girls took photos with Han Yueyao. Then, they left happily. Su looked embarrassed. Han Yueyao didn't know what to say. She was afraid that if she offended the president, he would fling his sleeves and leave. Boss, is the spicy hot pot not ready yet? Su shouted at the top of his voice. Right away. Then, the waiter brought 2 bowls of steaming spicy hot pot. Su-yu buried his head in the food to ease the awkwardness. Seeing his cute appearance, Han Yueyao almost laughed out loud. Eat slowly. It's super spicy. After Han Yueyao said this, Su-yu felt the impact on his taste buds. Hiss, water. Give me water. She used her chopsticks to open the iron lid of the soda bottle, looking very dashing. Then, he hurriedly passed it to Su-yu. Su-yu gulped down 2 big mouthfuls before he finally felt better. Sichuan's chili really lived up to its reputation. The way you opened the bottle, just now. Isn't he super handsome? Han Yueyao said smugly. Well, can it also be used to open beer? Of course. I learned it from my dad. When he made it, I thought it was so cool. I wanted to learn it. Han Yueyao said proudly. Teach me. Su-yu was domineering and asked Han Yueyao to teach him. Sure, take the money. You really only have money in your eyes. Money, money, money everywhere. Su-yu blushed with shame. It's fine if you don't want to pay. Call me master, and I'll teach you. You're shameless. You want me to call you master? Su-yu looked at the arrogant little girl sitting across from him in amusement. If you're willing to call me master, I can be shameless for a while. Han Yueyao reacted quickly and retorted. Pretend I didn't say anything. Su-yu lowered his head and continued to eat the spicy hot pot. Han Yueyao naughtily picked up her bottle of soda. Then, she picked up her chopsticks and performed another wonderful performance. With a bang, the bottle cap was opened without him seeing how she did it. Suyu couldn't help but raise his head again, his eyes filled with admiration. "I'll give you an 88 yuan red pocket." "Teach me," he bargained. "You're a profiteer. You want to steal my skills for only 88 yuan? In your dreams." Han Yueyao was even more smug. Chapter 40, 196. "I'll give you an extra 10 yuan at most." 98 yuan. "Are you going to teach me or not?" "Ift. You're the president, the big boss, but you're asking for 98 yuan. I despise you. I won't teach you." "Whoa. Little girl, you've got guts. You're all grown up now. You chose to go against me because you're famous and have fans. Do you believe that I'll make things difficult for you?" Suyu reached out and naughtily flicked Han Yueyao's head. He felt like he was playing with a child. Han Yueyao's heart was blooming with sweetness. She didn't expect Suyu to be so naive and cute. "It's good to make things difficult for you. Come on, remember to make things difficult for me." Suyu chuckled. The best thing about Han Yueyao was that she could say whatever was on her mind. So, he didn't have to pretend to be a big boss in front of her. He didn't have to think about whether he would get angry if he said too much. Instead, he felt relaxed. The atmosphere was so good that Suyu's appetite was stimulated. After finishing his spicy hot pot, he snatched a few bites from Han Yueyao. After they finished eating, they walked back to Han Yueyao's dorm. Suyu sent a WeChat message and asked him to pick him up at Han Yueyao's dorm after they finished eating. On their way back, Han Yueyao suddenly thought of what happened during the day and asked Suyu, "President Su, Sister Mion seems to be very close to you recently."
Yeah.
"Mion has been acting strange recently. Is there something on her mind?" Han Yueyao felt that Huamin wasn't the kind of person who would take the initiative to look for Suyu again and again. After all, Huamin knew how to avoid suspicion.
Yeah.
"She seems to be on bad terms with Qin Chu recently." "How can that be? President Qin is famous for doting on his wife." Han Yueyao was surprised. Suyu's expression was unnatural. "Maybe it's because too many things have happened recently. No matter how powerful or talented the couple is, they're still ordinary people and have emotions. The loss of the child is a big blow to everyone. Qin Chu has feelings for her, and Mion feels uncomfortable. So, everyone's in a bad mood. When we talk, we have conflicts. It's okay. I'll try to persuade her." "Then, will President Qin feel uncomfortable with Sister Mion being so close to you?" Han Yueyao was worried. Because Suyu was a public figure, many paparazzi were willing to take pictures. If someone were to take a picture of it and use it as a topic of discussion, it would break the pressure of public opinion. In the end, it might not end well. Huamian used to pay attention to this and rarely saw Suyu alone. But now, for some reason, he kept looking for Suyu. Even Han Yueyao found it strange. But Suyu thought it was all because of that incident and didn't find Huamin's behavior strange. They walked to the door of the dorm. "Let's go back. It's cold outside." "Don't stand here like an idiot," Suyu said. "Is the spicy hot pot delicious?" Han Yueyao looked up at Suyu, her heart pounding.
Yeah.
"Not bad." "Then I'll treat you to it often," Han Yueyao said. Suyu's expression was unnatural. He changed the topic. "How's the cooking reality show going?" "I'm still learning. I heard we'll shoot the first season in Thailand. Isn't that good? You can take it as a free trip." Suyu chuckled. "Then I'll be away from the country for a week." "Yeah. Thank God. I won't see you for a week. That way, I won't have to quarrel with others." "Did you miss me even a little bit when I was abroad for so long?" Han Yueyao was unwilling to give up and questioned him boldly. Chapter 40, 197. Sure enough, Suyu blushed when he heard Han Yueyao's question. "It's late. Hurry up and go in. Anne's car is here." Suyu didn't answer Han Yueyao's question. He didn't know how to respond to a girl's confession. He seemed to have forgotten how good he was at flirting with girls and indulging himself in debauchery before he met Humin a few years ago. By the time Anne's car arrived, Suyu had already walked more than half a mile. He was trying to avoid Han Yueyao's questions. That girl always asked explicit questions. So you didn't know how to answer her. President Su, how was your dinner with Miss Han? And began to gossip. Pretty good. President Su, if it's a full score of 10, how many points would you give Miss Han? And asked as he drove. What do you mean? Su Yu glanced at it in puzzlement. It's the scoring that's very popular on the internet recently. I'm just asking you. Tell me, I'm curious. Han Yueao is a hardworking and ambitious girl. She's pretty and a good person. If it's a full score of 10, I'll give her, an 8. What about Dr. Hua? 10, Su Yu blurted out. Sure enough, no matter how many shortcomings Humin had, he was always the best in Su Yu's eyes. Okay, you're biased. I won't ask. Shaoan thought to himself, isn't this bias a little too obvious? In fact, Humin was far less good-looking than Han Yueao, and his figure wasn't as sexy as Han Yueao's, who was a dancer. Even Humin didn't smile as much as Han Yueao. His face was serious. But no matter how bad she was, Su Yu loved her. That was the main point. Seeing his boss's attention was still on Dr. Hua, and stopped asking. He had wanted to set up a relationship between Han Yueao and his boss. But now it seemed impossible. After all, his boss hadn't thought in that direction yet. Gao family he had thought that after Jingda's death, the vampire's case would be over. Gao Ran would be able to accompany his wife and son on a vacation. Unexpectedly, such a case still happened. It was 7:00 in the evening. A kindergarten reported that 2 5-year-old children, a boy and a girl, had gone missing. He checked the surveillance footage but found nothing. This kindergarten was a kind of long-term nursery. The children whose parents were especially busy and had no time to take care of them were placed here. They ate, lived, and attended classes here, and were only brought home on weekends. At night, when the life teacher was bathing the children, she realized that there was one person missing. He searched everywhere, but there was no sign of him. In the end, he panicked and went to look for the principal. Then, the principal brought the teacher to the police. Originally, in China, a missing person would not be registered if it was less than 24 hours. However, when Gao Ran heard about this matter, he felt that it was very strange. Why did she lose the child again? Last time, when the children's bodies were fished out from the lake, their parents had cried miserably. This time, were the 2 children really lost by accident, or were they stolen by a group of kidnappers? Or was there another reason? Gao Ran led his team to search for clues all night, but found nothing. When he drove home dejectedly, the children were already asleep. Zhu Lingling sat on the sofa, with her legs crossed in displeasure. Honey, you're still awake? Chief Gao, you must keep your word. When are you going to take Bu Yuan and me on a vacation, okay? Zhu Lingling questioned him with a dark face. Chapter 4198. Upon hearing this, Gao Ran licked his dry lips guiltily. Then, he took off his jacket, sat down beside Zhu Lingling, and put an arm around her shoulder. Zhu Lingling shrugged him, showing her dissatisfaction with his late return. Honey, listen to me. Don't tell me that. I just want to ask you, are you going or not? Zhu Lingling felt wronged. She thought that Gao Ran would have more free time now that he was promoted. At least he didn't have to work as a leader. However, she didn't know that he was even busier now that he was the chief of the police force. He worked on many cases himself. Zhu Lingling knew Gao Ran well. He worked so hard not because he was addicted to being an official. He really liked this job. Gao Ran had a clear goal when he was in high school. Being a police officer was like his father. It was a lie to say that he wanted to serve the people, but he wanted to get rid of the evil and bring peace to the good. However, ever since Gao Ran was promoted, Zhu Lingling and her family rarely went out on weekends. Not to mention going to Northern Europe with their parents to see the aurora and Hawaii like other children. Gao Buiyuan was still young and didn't know how to complain, but Zhu Lingling did. She also envied others who had husbands who loved and cared for them. Yes. I promised you that I'd go. When will you go? Zhu Lingling pressed. Can you wait until I'm done with this case? Gao Ran felt a little guilty. Another case. Do you spend your days with cases or with me? Have you forgotten about this family? Of course not. Lingling, don't be angry. You have to understand me, sometimes. Gao Ran was also helpless. The job required someone to fill the position. Upon hearing this, Zhu Lingling got even angrier. She stood up in a flash and pointed at Gao Ran. Her eyes were red as she said aggrievedly, Gao Ran, ever since I've been with you, don't you know how much I've been understanding of you? While other people were eating steak and holding roses in a Western restaurant on Valentine's Day, you were working overtime. When other people are celebrating Goddess Day and watching movies together, you're working overtime. When other people are celebrating their wedding anniversary, you can't wait to spend the entire day being lovey-dovey with each other, but you're still working overtime. When it's my birthday, you have to come back in the middle of the night. The cake has already melted, and the dishes have already turned cold. In fact, how many times have I driven your son to the hospital in the middle of the night when he was sick with a high fever? Are you the busiest person in the world? Are you the President of the United States or the Chairman of the United Nations? Zhu Lingling burst out like a volcano, probably because she had been suppressing her anger for too long. Gao Ran's mood was very complicated. He knew that his wife had been wronged, but what could he do? Don't tell me I'm going to be a bureau chief who eats food but doesn't do anything? That wasn't like him either. Maybe the two of them were arguing too loudly, but Gao Buiyuan woke up in a daze. He opened the door and walked out. Mom, Dad, did you two fight? Zhu Lingling turned her head away. Her eyes were red, and she didn't say anything. Gao Ran picked up his son and kissed him in his arms. It's okay. We didn't fight. Mom scolded Dad one-sidedly. Dad accepted it completely. Why don't you two give birth to a younger sister for me? Gao Buiyuan's words made Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran speechless.
Who said that to you?
Grandpa and Grandma said it. They said that if there was a younger sister in the house, the atmosphere would be better. Mom would be busier to take care of a younger sister, so she wouldn't worry about whether Dad is busy or not. Your grandparents are really good at talking. Zhu Lingling was so angry that she almost rolled her eyes. Haha, what if we have a younger brother? Gao Ran was amused by his son. Chapter 40, 199. We don't need a younger brother. I'm the only boy in our family. Obviously, Gao Buiyuan didn't want a younger brother. He only needed a younger sister. What if we have a younger brother? Gao Ran's interest was piqued, and he continued to tease his son. Then we'll have to throw him into a cesspool. Gao Ran was speechless, Zhu Lingling was speechless. Then I don't think we should have a younger brother. You'll be the only one. Gao Ran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Don't fight. Little Bean told me that children who grow up in a quarreling environment will be very grumpy. You don't want me to grow up to be a grumpy man, right? Zhu Lingling was speechless. Gao Ran. You're right. No, Little Bean told me that. It's all good advice.
Think about it.
Gao Buiyuan's grown-up tone eased the atmosphere a lot, and it wasn't as tense as before. Seeing that his parents were silent, Gao Buiyuan asked again. I need to pee. Can someone come with me to the bathroom now? Zhu Lingling secretly wiped her tears, picked up her son, and carried him to the bathroom. Gao Buiyuan had saved his dad, but Gao Ran's heart was still heavy. He kept reading the latest updates from his colleagues in the group chat on his phone. The two kids still hadn't been found. The parents and the kindergarten hadn't received any ransom calls. If that was the case, the situation seemed to be even worse. Gao Ran picked up his phone and sent a few voice messages to Qin Chu on WeChat, briefly explaining the situation. Gao Ran emphasized, Chu, you're sure Jingdo is dead, right? Did he come back from the dead? Why do I feel that this is very similar to his? After a while, Qin Chu replied, I killed Jingda with my own hands. His body has been burned to ashes. Gao Ran trusted Qin Chu's ability. He didn't seem like an unreliable person. But since Jingda was dead, who was the culprit of the missing children? Damn it, Sea City, which had been peaceful for 100 years, had recently been in a state of panic. The pressure from the higher-ups was a small matter. The key was that Gao Ran understood the feelings of the parents when their children were gone. He was also a father, so he worked overtime without sleep, hoping to find some clues. Unfortunately, he found nothing. It was as if a deity had committed a crime, leaving no evidence behind. South Hill Manor Chin Chu was in the study. Looking at the WeChat message that Gao Ran had sent him, he started to have doubts in his heart. It was a fact that Jingda was dead. Then there was only one person who was the most suspicious, and that was the woman at home. She had enough time to commit the crime, but why did she and Jingda keep torturing and killing children? Qin Chu didn't interrogate him, but Jingda was indeed a monster. He drained the blood of those children, which was why there were rumors about vampires. Could it be that this woman was also? The more Qin Chu thought about it, the more confused he became. He opened the door and went downstairs. Huamin had just returned from outside, carrying an exquisite lunchbox in his hand. "Mommy, you're back," Little Bean called out affectionately. Pudding glanced at her and didn't call her mommy. "I went out for a walk and saw the new pastries from Wanhajai, so I bought some. It's very interesting. You can choose the ingredients and let them process them. You can eat them without worry." "Wow, there's delicious food."
Thank you, Mommy.
The little foodie didn't dare to say anything. She took the lunchbox and opened it. Indeed, there were colorful pastries inside. "Sis, come and eat with us," Little Bean called out to Pudding. "Mommy, I have something to discuss with you." Pudding looked at Huamin and said weakly. Chapter 40, 200. Huamin took off his jacket and hung it up. Then he sat down on the sofa and leaned back. "Baby, what is it?" "My classmate's golden retriever gave birth to a baby. I want to adopt one." "Wow, that's a good idea. I really like golden retrievers too." Little Bean was overjoyed. It was natural for children to like animals. Unexpectedly, Huamin's face darkened.
No.
"Why, Mommy? Don't you like dogs too?" "I like them, but they're not clean. They have parasites on them," Huamin said. "They won't. We'll take good care of them. We'll give them regular injections, baths, and checkups. There won't be any bacteria." "Don't say any more. I won't agree to this. We can't have any cats or dogs at home in the future. I don't like them." It was obvious that Huamin disliked small animals. "Mommy, you used to like them a lot. You were the one who took care of the rabbits that Sis and I raised." Little Bean looked aggrieved. "The past is the past. The present is the present. I have enough to worry about raising you two children at home. I don't have the time to raise a pet." Huamin's words made the two children very unhappy. But no one dared to disobey her. Her grandparents had gone to a good friend's house and hadn't returned yet. The servants didn't dare to interrupt. They all knew that the young madam had the final say at home. "I'll ask Daddy about this. Maybe he'll agree." Pudding seemed to be unhappy with Huamin's reaction. She didn't give up just because her mother said that she couldn't raise it. Instead, she said that she would ask Daddy. This sentence completely infuriated Huamin.
Pudding, stop right there.
Pudding didn't seem to hear him. She wanted to go upstairs to find Qin Chu. Then, Huamin moved quickly and grabbed Pudding's collar. With a fierce tug from behind, Pudding was easily dragged back. He had to admit that this woman was very strong. "I'm talking to you, didn't you hear me? Is this how you talk to Mommy?" Huamin glared at him. Pudding didn't say anything. She just looked at the woman in front of her with dissatisfaction. "You're not old, but you have quite a temper. Let me tell you, Pudding, you can't keep a dog. It's useless to ask your daddy. I have the final say in this matter." "What right do you have to be so domineering?" "Because I'm your mother. My mother wouldn't be like you. You're not like my mother at all. You've become so scary. I don't like the current you. You're too selfish and cold." Pudding's emotions, which she had been suppressing for days, suddenly burst out. Many hurtful words were also blurted out. Huamin went up and slapped Pudding hard on the face. Perhaps it was because her fingernails were too long. They scratched Pudding's face and left a bloody mark. Pudding covered her face in shock. Looking at the woman in front of her, she felt that she was both scary and unfamiliar. Pudding was also scared out of her wits, and the pastries in her hand fell to the ground. Her mother hit her sister and even scratched her sister's face. Sis, your face is blood. Pudding seemed to have lost the ability to speak. Huimin seemed to feel that she had gone too far. She calmed down and gently coaxed Pudding. Mommy didn't want it to be like this, Pudding. You'll know in the future that Mommy did it for your own good. Small animals aren't as clean as you think. They'll infect you with a lot of diseases. At this moment, Qin Shu came downstairs. Pudding, come here, he said coldly. Huimin or Layla looked up and saw Qin Shu's cold eyes. She became nervous. Chapter 42:01. Daddy. Pudding turned around and ran upstairs, hugging Qin Shu's leg. Honey, listen to me. I didn't do it on purpose. Before Huimin could finish, Qin Shu picked up Pudding and went back to the study. Scared, Pudding dropped the pastries and followed him. The servants left, not daring to stay in the living room. In the study, Qin Shu found a first aid kit and applied medicine on Pudding's wound. Pudding was so young that her face was swollen from the slap. Qin Shu's heart ached. Daddy, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt. You can have a dog. Daddy will pick up the golden retriever tomorrow and buy it a kennel and dog food. What about Mommy? Don't worry about her. Pudding didn't dare to speak. After treating the kids' wounds, Qin Shu instructed the two kids to take care of themselves. You two stay in the study. I'll go down and talk to her. Daddy, don't fight. Our family needs to be harmonious. Pudding held her daddy's hand and said, Okay, Daddy knows. When Qin Shu went downstairs, Huimin was still sitting on the sofa, looking at the news on her cell phone. She didn't seem to care about Pudding's wound. Seeing Qin Shu come down, she put away her cell phone in a panic.
Honey, how's Pudding?
She's fine. I've treated her wound. Pudding is young, and she's still a child. It's inevitable for her to throw a tantrum. But as her mother, how could you be so cruel? Honey, I really didn't do it on purpose. I was angry. My nails are long and I accidentally cut them. I've cut them.
Look.
Huimin raised her finger. Indeed, her long nails were gone. She didn't want to arouse Qin Shu's suspicion, so she continued to play the victim. She did not like those two brats, so this time, she took the opportunity to punish them. Pudding, in particular, seemed to be at odds with her recently. Even though she said she was sorry, Pudding didn't want to offend her. But in her heart, Layla felt very satisfied. You've never treated our daughter like this before? Qin Shu looked at her and said word by word. Then you wouldn't have treated me so coldly in the past. Let's not talk about the past, Huimin argued. But the child is also your child. Qin Shu deliberately said this, not wanting to let the other party know that he had seen through her. I know. I'm just trying to educate him. There's no point in raising a dog. But I agreed. You have to keep the dogs as compensation for your daughter. Also, from now on, you're not allowed to touch Pudding and Little Bean. Otherwise, I won't go easy on you. Qin Shu was really angry, but he didn't hit her. Although he really wanted to, he felt that it wouldn't be good to fight at home. The maids must have thought that he was a domestic abuser who liked to beat his wife. Qin Shu was so smart that he didn't want to be caught. And Layla thought that this matter was over just like that. She didn't take Qin Shu's warning to heart. After Qin Shu vented his anger, he drove out with the twins, saying that they were going to have supper. Layla didn't think much of it and played with her phone at home. However, there was a problem that she needed to pay attention to. What would she do if she raised a dog at home? After all, small animals were very repulsive to people like her. After taking the children out to eat, it was already 10 o'clock when they came back. Qin Shu sent the children back and went straight to his grandmother's room. Then he went out again to see Rick. Rick, I need you to do me a favor.
What?
Find someone with good driving skills. Tomorrow drive and hit Huimin, Qin Shu said very clearly.
What?
Rick thought that there was something wrong with his ears and that he had heard wrong. Chapter 42:02. You heard me right. You want to hit Huimin? Rick repeated. Yes. Your wife.
Yes. Why?
Chu, are you out of your mind? Is she your wife? She doesn't need to be killed or disabled. Just make her suffer a little, Chin-Chu said expressionlessly. But why? Even if you two quarrel, you don't have to do this. Rick thought that Chin-Chu would never hurt his wife because he was a man who would die for Huimin at any time. But today, such a man was asking him to find someone to hit Huimin? It was unbelievable. Rick, about this. I can't explain it in detail right now. I'll find a chance to explain it to you in the future. Right now, I just need your help. Mion knows all my people, so I want you to help me. Also, you must find someone with good driving skills. Don't kill him. But there are many accidents in this kind of thing. If you fail, I think you should find another way. Don't worry. She won't die. I just want her to suffer a little.
But
Rick didn't dare to agree. He thought this was too strange. If Chin-Chu regretted it in the future and Huimin was seriously injured, wouldn't he be in trouble? Looking at Rick's hesitation, Chin-Chu looked into his eyes. Rick, do you trust me? Yes. Then please do me a favor, okay? Okay. Finally, Rick won over the hesitation in his heart and agreed. Then, Chin-Chu told him what he needed to do. Finally, the two separated and went home. Huimin was used to not sharing a bed with Chin-Chu. She began to change her target. Ever since Jingde002 disappeared mysteriously, she felt that she couldn't stay in this place for too long. Since she couldn't fulfill her original wish, she would seduce Suyu and make Suyu and Chin-Chu fall out. In short, she wanted to destroy Huimin's reputation. She wanted to make her family restless. Huimin lay in bed with the dim light on. She sent Suyu a WeChat message. Huimin, are you asleep? Suyu, no. Huimin, I can't sleep. Let's talk? Suyu, sure. What's wrong with Dr. Hua? Insomnia? Huimin, yeah. I keep thinking about the days when I was kidnapped with you in Yunnan. Suyu, haha. Are you scared of being kidnapped? Are you traumatized? Huimin, no. I was thinking that if we didn't come back at that time and lived a life of farming in a small mountain village, would you be willing to come back? Suyu, Mion, did you drink? Suyu always felt that Huimin's advances toward him was an illusion. It shouldn't have happened. So, he suspected that Huimin was in a bad mood and drank. Huimin, I didn't drink. Suyu, I'm very sober. Suyu, but if we didn't come back, what would happen to Chin-Chu? What would happen to the twins? Huimin, life is unhappy because you have worries. That's why I made a hypothesis. After coming back, I realized that a lot of things between Chin-Chu and me have changed. Suyu, I don't think so. When I had dinner with Chin-Chu the other day, I felt that he was still the same as before. Huimin, that's for you. He treats me differently. I'm starting to regret it, Suyu. What do you regret? Huimin, I regret that I didn't choose you back then.
Suyu, haha.
Dr. Hua, stop fooling around. Don't make fun of a loser like me, okay? Huimin, I'm not fooling around. Suyu, let me ask you, do you still have me in your heart? You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.